Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku gained Doomslayer's power and fell for Jirou? Part 2. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. This story is Izuku el Doomslayer by Izuku Kaneki 450. This is a translation of a Spanish story, so there can be some grammatical errors. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. He goes to call his father but realizes something. Izuku. Shit, I forgot to grab my phone, he says as he looks to his right and sees it on the dresser. Izuku. I don't remember putting it there, he says as he grabs it. He takes it and notices there is a note in it. Para Izuku. Hey, you don't know me, but I know you, and I'm the person who gave birth to this universe. But we'll talk about that another time. I noticed you forgot your phone in your pants, so I did you a favor and left it on your desk while you weren't looking. Izuku Kaneki. P.S. You're welcome, Izuku. Who's the best? He wondered as he took the note from his phone. Izuku. And how did he manage to get past me without me noticing? He says while looking at the note. Izuku. I should try to find him when I have time. He thinks to himself as he leaves the note on the desk. He turns on his phone and calls his dad. Doomguy. Hey, son, where are you? Aries starting to get worried. Izuku. I'm sorry, Dad, but I don't think I'll be able to make it home today. Doomguy. Why did something happen? Are you hurt? Izuku. And no, Dad, I'm fine. I'm staying at a friend's house, but it's a little late, so she offered me to stay the night. Doomguy. Oh, okay. Izuku. But she also helped me make caramel apples for Aries, so could you come pick them up? Doomguy. Of course, son. Just send me the location and I'll come pick them up. Izuku. It's okay, thanks Dad. Doomguy. And she, he said in a reassuring tone. Izuku could feel her smile on the other end of the phone. Izuku. Bye Dad. He said as he heard Doomguy laughing on the other end of the phone before hanging up. Izuku sighed as he put his phone back on the desk. He yawned as he began to stretch his arms, taking him off of Rei. Rei. Izuku. He said as his smile slowly began to disappear. He looked at her and kissed her on the cheek as he put his arm around her. Her warm smile returned as she snuggled up to Izuku. Izuku. Don't worry Rei, I'll never leave your side. He says as he puts his arm behind his hand and slowly falls asleep. We see Izuku wake up in bed with Rei hugging him. He looked at her and smiled slightly as he stroked her head. She smiled warmly as she nuzzled her head against Izuku's chest. Izuku lies down while looking at the ceiling thinking. Izuku. He looks down at his phone and picks it up from the counter. He looks at his phone and remembers the offer Aizawa and the Hawks gave him. Izuku. Should I accept it? He thinks to himself and puts his phone back on the counter. He looks at Rei and slowly picks her up and lays her down carefully, doing his best not to wake her. He slowly gets out of bed and gets dressed. Izuku. Where's my shirt? He thought to himself as he remembered he had put it in the dryer. Izuku leaves the room and walks around the house wondering where the dryer is. As Izuku searched for his shirt, Rei slowly woke up with her hair a mess. He sat up and rubbed his eyes as he used his blanket to cover his chest. She looked around the room wondering where Izuku was. She saw her phone on the counter and then knew it was still there. She tried to get up but couldn't feel her legs. She wondered why, but remembered what she and Izuku did last night and blushed. Rei. I can't believe we did that, she whispered to herself as she hid her face under the blanket. While thinking about the night she and Izuku spent, Izuku returns and is fully dressed. Izuku realizes Rei is awake and goes to her. Izuku. Good morning Rei. He says as he sits on the bed. Rei. Good morning Izuku. She says this while looking at him and blushing. Izuku. Are you okay? He asks her as he brushes her hair out of her face. Rei. Why yes, I'm fine, she says as her blush grows on her face. Rei. But I can't move my legs, he says while covering his face with the blanket. Izuku. Do you need help? Rei. Why yes, if you don't mind. She says while looking at him with a shy expression. Izuku nods as he removes the blanket and lifts her up bridal style. Rei's blush increases when she can feel his muscles through his shirt, hugging her body. Izuku. Do you want to take a bath first? He asked, looking at her. Rei nods in response as Izuku goes to the bathroom with Rei in his arms. Time skip. After a while, we see Rei sitting on the couch fully clothed. Izuku. Will you be okay? He asked her as he was ready to leave. Rei. Yes, I'll be fine, thanks for helping me, she says with a small blush on her face. Izuku. He hums as he writes something on a piece of paper. Izuku. Here, he says as he hands her the piece of paper. Izuku. Call me if you need help, okay? Rei. I will, thanks Izuku. She says with a warm smile. Izuku. He says as he approaches her and kisses her forehead. A small blush grows even more on Rei's face, but she smiles at the kiss. Izuku. See you later, he says as he strokes her head before walking away and leaving the house. Rei watches Izuku leave and has a smile on her face. Rei. Despite how brutal he looks on the news, he's a sweetheart. She says with a smile on her face. She's really glad she ran into Izuku that day, which was yesterday. Meanwhile, we return to Izuku, who is walking down the street. He wears a hoodie and a mask to hide his identity. Izuku started thinking about the offer again. Now that he's in relationships with several girls, he'll need help protecting them, especially his daughter Eri. Izuku. I think it's time to call Aizawa, he thinks to himself as he looks around before coming across an alley. Meanwhile, we see Aizawa still sleeping in his bed. But his dream is interrupted when his phone starts ringing. Aizawa grunts as he tiredly grabs his phone. Aizawa. What? He says in an angry tone when he sees that his sleep is interrupted. Izuku. It's me, he says, and Aizawa rubs his eyes, waking up. Aizawa. I see, does that mean you accepted the offer? Izuku. Yes, but there are some things I want if I join. Aizawa. I see, what's wrong? Izuku. I need something to protect my daughter. Aizawa. Izuku. That, Aizawa. Aren't you too young to have a child? Izuku. Yes I am, and I don't care. Aizawa. Sigh, it's okay, I know someone who is surprisingly good with children. Izuku. Well, when do I start? Aizawa. I'll call you tomorrow and tell you when you can join. Izuku. It's okay, Aizawa. By the way, what size is your clothing? Izuku. I think extra large. Aizawa. You're leaving me guessing, I see. Izuku. I usually wear whatever I'm comfortable in. Aizawa. Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Izuku. Okay, then. He says as he is about to end the call. Aizawa. Also, before I forget, you'll be living in dorms. Izuku. Bedrooms. Aizawa. Yeah, like a motel for UA students. Izuku. Oh, okay then, bye. Aizawa. Yes, see you soon. He says as he ends the call. Aizawa. Sigh, great, I have to guess what size it is. He says as he puts away his phone and rubs his face. Time skip. Throughout the day, Izuku spent all his time with Eri to make up for not coming back yesterday. Eri thought it was fine, but she didn't stop Izuku because she was happy to be with her dad. Right now we're walking through the halls of UA with Aizawa. Fortunately, Aizawa was able to find the right size for Izuku's UA uniform. As they both walk down the hallway, the UA students look at Izuku in shock, surprised that the Doom killer is at UA. Random student. Isn't that the guy who killed Endeavor? Random student number 2. Yeah, but I think it's pretty cool. Random student. What, why? Random student number 2. Because Endeavor got what he deserved, he abused his own family. Random student. Really? Random student number 2. Yeah, they told it on the news, how could you not know? Random student. I don't watch the news. Izuku looks at Aizawa, wondering how they know what Endeavor did. Aizawa. You can thank Hawks, he talked to the Todorokis and was able to discover some secrets that Endeavor was hiding. Izuku. Oh, he says as they arrive at Class 1A. Aizawa. Wait here, I'll let you know when you can come in. Izuku. Okay, he says as he leans against the wall and Aizawa walks in. When Aizawa enters, his class notices his presence and falls silent as they sit down. Aizawa. Well, everyone knows how to be silent when necessary, he says while yawning. Aizawa. Well, before we start class, we have a new student joining us. Ilda. But sir. Aizawa. No, Ilda. This. Aizawa. Shut up, he says while looking at Ilda with his gift. Ilda. No mouth face. Aizawa. Well, if anyone else has a problem with that, I won't give a shit, he says as he deactivates his quirk and rubs his eyes. Aizawa. Now, you can come in now, Izuku, he says as the door opens. Bakugo. Izuku. Wait a minute. Don't tell me what it is. He looks towards the door and sees Izuku walk through the door. He's quite big and muscular and everyone stares at him in shock. Class 1A except Bakugo and Kiyoka, the Doom Slayer. Bakugo. Deku. Kiyoka. Izuku. She screams as she gets up and runs towards Izuku. Izuku. Hello, he says as he waves at them and Kiyoka hugs him. Kiyoka. Why didn't you tell me you were joining UA? She asked him as she hugged him. Izuku. I wanted it to be a surprise, he says as he hugs her back, stroking her head as he does so. Mina. Wait, you know the Doom Slayer? Kiyoka. Yes, we are dating, she says as she nuzzles his head against her chest. Class 1A. Appointments. Everyone is surprised that Kiyoka has been dating Kiyoka all this time. Kiyoka. Yeah, isn't that right, Izuku? She says while looking at him. Izuku. He says as he goes down and kisses her nose. She smiles softly as a small blush grows on her face. The class is more than surprised because they never expected Kiyoka to date the boy who killed Endeavor. Kiri. Dude, how muscular you are, he asked while being surprised by how big and muscular he looked. Izuku. Life-threatening training. Kiri. That's so manly, he says as he approaches him. Kiri. Soy Kirishima, he says as he puts his fist in front of Izuku. Izuku. It's a pleasure to meet you too, he says while fist-bumping Kirishima. Izuku. Soy Izuku. Kiri. Okay, Izubro, I hope we can become the manliest friends, he says with a big toothy smile. Izuku. Me too my friend, he says with a small smile. Little by little everyone began to introduce themselves to Izuku, except Bakugo and Shoto. Bakugo clearly didn't want to talk to him, and Shoto was a little nervous about introducing himself to Izuku. He killed Endeavor, who was his father, and he was very grateful for it, but he didn't know how to present himself to him. Aizawa. Okay, now that everyone has introduced themselves, please return to your seats, he says as everyone starts to sit down. Aizawa. As for you, Izuku, we haven't prepared your desk yet, so you'll have to share a seat with someone. Izuku nods as Kiyoka takes his hand and sits him down at her desk. She jumps onto his lap and snuggles up against Izuku, sitting on his lap as she did. Izuku simply held her with his arm and rubbed her shoulder as he did so. Aizawa. Okay, now let's start today's homework. Time skip. As Aizawa talks, Kiyoka writes things in her diary while Izuku does the same. And finally, the bell rings. Bell. Ring ring, damn you. Izuku. 4. Aizawa. Okay class, listen up, he says as everyone looks towards Aizawa. Aizawa. Since Izuku is new here, I want one of you to show him around. Class 1A. Yes, Sensei Aizawa. Aizawa. Well, now the class is over, he says as he gets into his yellow sleeping bag and lets himself fall to the ground, falling back asleep. Everyone is packing their things. Kiyoka jumps off Izuku's lap and he stands up, wondering why the bell rang like that. Kiyoka. Hola Izuku, she says as Izuku looks at her. Kiyoka. As much as I would love to be your tour guide, I can't. I promised I would help Mina with her homework, she says while hugging Izuku. Kiyoka. But don't worry, I have a good friend who will show you around, she says as she strokes his head against her cheek. Kiyoka. Are you okay? Izuku. He says while kissing her cheek. She smiles as she feels his kisses go down to her neck and blushes. Kiyoka. Izuku isn't here, people can see us. She whispers as she strokes his head. Izuku. Oh, okay. He says as he stops kissing her. Kiyoka. Don't worry, when you finish your tour we can go to my bedroom and cuddle as much as you want. He says while holding his cheeks. Kiyoka. Veil. Izuku. Okay. He says as she smiles and kisses him on the lips. Kiyoka. Okay, now let's show you who your tour guide will be. He says as he picks up his backpack and takes Izuku's hand. Izuku picks up his backpack and follows Kiyoka, holding her hand as he does so. She walks towards the one who will show Izuku around and stops behind them as they are putting away their things. Kiyoka. Hello mom, she says as Momo jumps in shock. Momo. Oh my god. You scared me, he says while holding his chest in shock. Kiyoka. Oh, sorry. Momo shocked face okay. She says as she takes a breath and looks at Izuku. Momo. I guess I'll show you around. Kiyoka. Yes, he says as he lets go of Izuku's hand. Kiyoka. Okay, before I go, can I talk to you for a moment, Momo? Momo. Why, of course. She says as Kiyoka drags her to a place to talk privately. While they are talking, Izuku sees Mina walking towards him. Mina. So you're the killer of Doom, right? She asked in a cheerful tone. Izuku. Mina. Why did you call yourself the Hunter of Doom? She asked him while sitting at a desk. Mina. Is it because it sounds cool? Izuku. You could say that. Mina. Can I ask something else? Izuku. I guess. Mina. Cool, so what's your quirk? She asked, causing Izuku to look away slightly. Mina. Is it a strength quirk? He says while flexing his arms, trying to flex his muscles. Izuku. No, Mina. Oh, so what is it? Izuku. I don't have any quirks. Mina. Oh, you don't have any quirks. Izuku nods as he rubs the back of his neck. Mina. Oh, sorry for asking. He says while rubbing the back of his head. Izuku. It's okay, you were just curious. Mina. Is it? I don't think you'd agree. She says while looking down, feeling guilty for asking him that question. Izuku. Ashido. He says as he gets up and walks towards her. He lifts her chin to face him. Izuku. It's okay. He says with a warm smile. Mina looks at him blushing because she has never seen such a bright smile. Izuku. It's okay to be curious, but sometimes you have to think about how someone would feel about these questions before you ask. He says as he lets go of her chin. Izuku. Okay, Mina. Why yes, it's okay. She says while still looking at Izuku with a blush. Izuku. Well, he says as he strokes her head before sitting back down, waiting for Kiyoka and Momo to finish their conversation. What he didn't know is that all the girls, including Kiyoka and Momo, saw his smile and definitely blushed. Izuku simply stared at the ground as his smile slowly disappeared. Izuku. It's been a long time since I smiled like that. He thinks to himself as he rubs his cheeks. Kiyoka and Momo shake off their blushes and return to Izuku. Kiyoka. Oh okay Izuku, just follow Momo and she'll show you around. She says as Mina gets off the desk and walks next to Kiyoka. Kiyoka. Okay, have fun Izuku. She says while gesturing with her hand for him to go with Mina. Izuku. Okay, he says as he waves back. Once she leaves the classroom, Momo puts on her backpack and heads to Izuku. Momo. Oh okay, if you follow me, I'll show you around. Izuku. Okay, he says as he gets off the desk and walks next to Momo. Momo has a small blush on her face as they both walk out of the classroom. Momo. Let me show you where the cafeteria is. She says as Izuku follows her. As they walk towards the cafeteria, Momo starts talking to Izuku about what he will see there. Izuku listens to her while looking around the hallway. There are students talking to each other or eating lunch in the cafeteria. As they walk, Izuku sees a boy running with his friend and collides with Momo, knocking her to the ground. But before she could fall, Izuku catches her with one arm and grabs the other student by the neck. Student. Hey, let me. He says as he looks at Izuku and freezes. Student. Go. Izuku stares at the student as he pulls him closer. The student trembles as he realizes who is holding him by the neck. Student. Please don't hurt me. He begs while holding Izuku's wrist in fear. Izuku. I'm sorry, student. What? Izuku. You pushed her. He says as he puts Momo back on her feet. Izuku. Apologize. He says as he lets the student go. Student. Oh okay. He says as he approaches Momo. Student. I'm so sorry I pressured you. He says as he bows apologetically. Momo. Oh okay. She says as she stands up, like a student. Student. Oh okay then. He says while looking at Izuku. Student. Gee goodbye, he says as he runs away from the two, scared of Izuku. Izuku. Are you okay? He asked while holding her by the shoulder. Momo. Why yes, I'm fine. She says with a nervous smile. Momo. Thanks for catching me. She says as she bows slightly to him. Izuku. You're welcome, I wouldn't like to see Kiyoka's friend hurt. He says while having a small smile on his face. Momo. I see, and now let's continue. He says as they both continue walking towards the cafeteria. Time skip. After Izuku's party ended, we see him and Momo heading to the dorms. Momo. And this is the last place left to show you, the bedrooms. She says as they both look at the dormitory of Class 1A. Izuku. The dorms, I think Aizawa said he'd be living here. Momo. Oh then I guess we should go inside, right? Izuku. He says as they both start walking. Izuku. Yaoyorozu. He says while looking at her. Momo. Why yes, she asked as she looked at him. Izuku. Are you afraid of me? Momo. What? No, I'm not. Izuku. It seems so, you've been stuttering the whole time. Momo. Sorry, I'm just very nervous. He says while looking down. Izuku. Why are you so nervous? Do you think I'll hurt you? Momo. No, it's not that. He says as he stops walking. Momo. I just want to make a good first impression on you. Izuku. I understand, but you don't have to try to impress me if that's what you're saying. He says while holding her shoulder gently. Izuku. I can tell that deep down you're an amazing person. He says with a warm smile. Momo blushes as it is the same smile she saw in the classroom, and now that she sees it better, she is amazed at how warm his smile makes her feel. Izuku. Okay, Momo. It's okay. She says it while still blushing. Izuku. Well, he says as his smile slowly disappears once again. And Momo feels a little upset because her smile is gone. Momo. If you don't do it. She says while holding her sleeve. Momo. Would you like to join me for tea? She asked him while looking at him with a shy expression. Izuku. Sure. He says he has a small smile on his face. She smiles as she lets go of his sleeve and continues walking towards the dorms with him. Meanwhile, we see Kiyoka in Minasa's room as she sits next to her at the desk helping her with her homework. But he realized that Mina was thinking Zai was busy doing something else while his attention on Kiyoka kept wandering off. Kiyoka. Do you understand? She says while tapping his shoulder. Mina. Iha, she says as she jumps a little and looks at Kiyoka in confusion. Kiyoka. Are you okay? You seem to be thinking about something else. Mina. Well promise you won't get mad. Kiyoka. Of course I won't get angry. Mina. Well it's about Izuku. She says as a blush grows on her face. Kiyoka. What's wrong with him? Mina. How can someone who looks so intimidating be so cute at the same time? She says as she rests her head on the table, blushing. Mina. Did you see her smile? Her smile is so fucking cute. He says while putting his arms over his head. Kiyoka. Oh, is this about what we saw in class? She asked as she looked at Mina blushing. Mina. And. Kiyoka. She leans back in her chair with her arms behind her head. Kiyoka. So this is about Izuku. Mina. And. Kiyoka. And do you like it? Mina. Yes, wait, no. She says as she looks at Kiyoka blushing heavily. Kiyoka just had a smile on her face and Mina knows she can't lie to her. Mina. Sigh. Okay, maybe I like it a little. Kiyoka. But how? You just met him. Mina. I don't know. All that rough but cute on the inside stuff is just, She can't express why she likes him so much, even though she just met him. There's something about Izuku that makes her fall in love with him. Kiyoka. I know I felt the same way when we first met, he's so attractive. She says as she begins to say that she dreams of seeing him shirtless. Kiyoka. And you should see him shirtless, he's so sexy. He says while biting his lip a little. Mina. I wish. She says while imagining what Izuku would look like shirtless. Kiyoka. You know, I can make that happen. He says as he comes out of his mental state. Mina. See, can I? He says while looking at her. Kiyoka. Sure, but we have to find a way to make Izuku love you too. She says as she leans back in her chair. Mina. But how? Kiyoka. I'll figure it out, but for now, let's finish your homework. Mina. True, it's okay. She says as they continue doing their chores. Time skip. We see Izuku in the living room with Momo as they are drinking tea together. Momo. Well, I'm curious, how did you meet Kiyoka? She asked as she sat next to him on the couch. Izuku. I saved her from a criminal in an alley. He says as he takes a sip. Momo. Oh, did you save her? Izuku. Yes, she was in danger and I couldn't leave her there. Momo. I see, he says while taking a sip of tea. Momo. I'm glad Kiyoka found someone like you. She says while smiling at him. Izuku. Thank you. She says while having a small smile on her face. Momo. I'm not sure. He says while taking a sip of tea. While drinking tea together, Momo remembers what Kiyoka told her and blushes. Flashback. Kiyoka. So you know how Izuku and I are dating? Momo. Yeah, you made that pretty clear when you kissed him in front of the whole class. Kiyoka. Well, I'm not the only girl who dates Izuku. Momo. Excuse me, Kiyoka. Yes, my mom, Yuki and I are with Izuku. Momo. Is the dragon hero dating Izuku? Kiyoka. Yes, and we know Izuku could steal more hearts from other girls, so we decided to share Izuku. Momo. Wait, why are you telling me this? Kiyoka. Just in case you fall for Izuku, I feel like some of the girls here will have feelings for Izuku soon, well except for Uraraka, she's dating Bakugo, right? Momo. Actually, but are you sure you're okay with this? Kiyoka. Yes, he says while patting Momo on the shoulder. Kiyoka. Okay, let's go back to Izuku. She says as she turns around and sees his bright smile. Kiyoka. Oh my god, her smile. She says as a small blush grows on her face. Momo covers her mouth because she's in shock but how bright her smile is. She realizes she's blushing and covers her face, blushing even more. Kiyoka notices and smiles. Kiyoka. I knew it. She says in a mocking tone. End of flashback. Momo looks down at her tea as she thinks about what Kiyoka said. Izuku notices that she's been staring at his tea and goes to see what's going on. Izuku. Yaoyorozu, he tells her while holding her shoulder. Momo jumps and accidentally spills her tea on her shirt. Momo. Oh no, he says as he picks up his cup of tea and puts it down. Izuku. Are you okay? He asked her as he put down his cup of tea. Momo. Why yes, I'm fine, luckily the tea got cold but my shirt. He says while looking at his shirt. Izuku. You should go change your shirt. He says as he gets up from the couch and helps her up. Izuku. I'm going to clean up. Momo. Are you sure? I can help you. Izuku. No, it's okay, just clean yourself up. He says as he goes to the kitchen to get paper towels. Momo sighs as she goes to her room to look for a new shirt. As he walks he realizes that his pants are also wet and gets upset. Momo. Sigh. She continues walking towards her room to go change her clothes. With Izuku, he returns to the living room and cleans up the spilled Momo tea. While he is there, he starts to think about what Momo was thinking. Izuku. Why did she jump? Did I scare her? He thought to himself as he continued cleaning. As it is, it feels like someone is watching him from behind. He turns around and sees a couple of clothes floating away. Izuku. Hagakure. He says she is surprised to remember her. Toru. Hola. He says as he nervously stands up. Izuku. Is there anything you need? He asked her as he finished cleaning up the spilled tea. Toru. Well, I was wondering if you could help me get the cookie jar off the top shelf. She says as Izuku could see a blush floating in the air. Izuku. Sure, he says as he gets up and heads to the kitchen with Toru following him. Izuku is in the kitchen and sees the jar in the highest cupboard. As Izuku reaches for it, his shirt rides up a bit, revealing his abs. Toru can see his abs and blushes a lot. Toru. His abs look so hot. She thinks to herself as she pays attention to her abs. Izuku grabs the cookie jar and lowers his arm. His shirt covers his abs and Toru steps out of it. Izuku. Here you go. He says as he hands her the cookie jar. Toru. Thank you. He says as he opens the jar of cookies and is about to eat them. But she looks at Izuku as he walks away and thinks she should thank him. 3. Izuku. She says as Izuku turns around. Izuku. Yes, he says as he sees Toru holding a cookie for him. Toru. I wanted to give you a cookie, to thank you. She says while having a small blush on her face. Izuku has a small smile as he takes the cookie. Izuku. Thank you, he says while eating the cookie. Toru. Yes, she says as she quickly walks away blushing. Izuku. She's nice, he says as he finishes the cookie. He sits on the couch and waits for Momo, wondering when she will return. After a while he comes back with new clothes. Momo. Sorry for taking so long. She says as she sits next to him. Izuku. It's okay. He says while watching television. Momo. Can I ask you one more question? Izuku. Sure, what is it? He asked as he looked at her. Momo. What is your last name? Izuku. Oh, I'd rather not talk about that. He says while looking away. Momo. Oh, sorry. He says while looking away as well. Momo. Great Momo, you made things awkward. They both just sat there, not saying anything to each other the whole time. Momo. Come on, say something. She thought to herself as she thought. Izuku felt his phone vibrate as he pulled it out and saw a message from his father. Izuku opens his phone and sees that it was a video of Eri. Eri. Hey, Dad. Grandpa told me you'll be away for a while, so I can't wait for you to come back. I have so many things I want to do with you. Bye. She says as the video ends. Izuku has a small smile on his face as Momo was watching the video with him. Momo. Do you have a daughter? She asked as she leaned on his shoulder. Izuku. Yes, I adopted her. Momo. Oh, I must say she is adorable. Izuku. He says as he sends him a message, telling him he'll see him soon. Momo. You know, for someone your age, you seem to be doing a pretty good job as a parent. Izuku. Seriously, he says as she looks at her. Momo. Yes. She says while looking at him, still leaning on his shoulder. They stared into each other's eyes in silence, as if they were the only ones there, and well, they're the only ones in the living room. Momo realized that they had been staring into each other's eyes for a long time and snapped out of that state. Momo. We should rest a little, it's quite late. She says as she gets off his shoulder with a blush on her face. Izuku. Yes, he says with a small blush on his face and stands up. Izuku. Good night Yaoyorozu. He says as he starts to leave. Type 1, Izuku. He says while playing with his fingers. Momo. You could call me Momo. She says as she looks at the floor, blushing as she plays with her fingers. Izuku. It's okay, Momo. He says with a small smile and leaves. Momo has a smile on her face when she hears Izuku say her first name. Meanwhile, we see Kiyoka alone in her room as she and Mina finished their homework together. Kiyoka. What time is it? He wondered as he checked his phone. It was 11:57 midnight. Kiyoka. Gosh, it took longer than expected to finish it. He says as he puts his phone on the counter and stretches. Kiyoka. Where's Izuku? I want to hug you. She says as if she heard a knock on the door. She immediately gets up and runs to the door. She opens it and sees Izuku. Izuku. Hola Kiyoka, he says as he's interrupted by her jumping into his arms. Kiyoka. It's about time you arrived. I was worried you wouldn't show up. She says as she nuzzles his head against her chest. Izuku. Of course I would come. He says as he raises it to his eye level. Izuku. I wouldn't want to leave you disappointed. He says as he enters his room and closes the door. Kiyoka. And you never do. She says as she holds his cheek and kisses him on the lips. He kisses her back as she wraps her legs around his body. As they kiss, Izuku walks over to the bed and lies down on top of Kiyoka. He breaks the kiss and gently kisses her neck, making her moan softly as he runs his fingers through her hair. Kiyoka. How are you so good at this? She asked him why he was enjoying every second. Izuku. I don't know, I'm just doing what seems right. He says as he stops kissing her neck. Kiyoka. Well, you're doing a good job. She says as Izuku kisses her cheek. Izuku. He hums as he stops kissing her and nuzzles his head into her neck. She smiles as Izuku hugs her and she pets his head. Kiyoka. Your hair is so soft. She says as he turns over, lies on his side, and holds her in his arms. Kiyoka. You know, when you're so brutal to your enemies, you're a cute, cuddly bear when you're around us. She says as she nuzzles his head against her chest. Izuku. He hums as he feels Kiyoka's hand slide inside his shirt. Kiyoka. This is cute. She says as she feels her muscles. Izuku. He hums as he grabs the blanket and pulls it over them. Kiyoka. Hey, do you think we could sleep shirtless? She asked while blushing slightly. Izuku. Why? He asked as he looked at her. Kiyoka. I just thought I'd feel comfortable. She asked as she hid her face in his chest. Izuku. Okay. He says as Kiyoka looks at him in surprise. Kiyoka. What is the meaning? Izuku. He says as he takes off his shirt. She also slowly takes off her shirt because she didn't think he would take this so lightly. Kiyoka hugs him tightly while still wearing her bra and hides her face in his chest. Kiyoka. Even though we already did it, I still get nervous seeing you shirtless. She says blushing. Izuku. I don't feel weird about it. He says as he looks at her and lifts her chin to make her look at him. Izuku. I like the way you look. He says and Kiyoka blushes. Kiyoka. Why you do it? Izuku. Yes, you look beautiful. She has a nervous smile as she kisses him on the lips. Kiyoka. Thank you, she says as she nuzzles his head against her chest. Izuku. You don't have to thank me for loving you. He says as he wraps his arm around her waist, while sliding the other under the pillow. Kiyoka. Okay, good night Izuku. Izuku. Good night Kiyoka. He says as he kisses her head before falling asleep with her in his arms. Meanwhile, we see Doomguy, making a small gift for Izuku. Vega. Are you sure you want to give him this? Doomguy. See. Vega. I see, but are you sure he'll know how to use it? The damage it can cause is quite significant. Doomguy. I'll show you. Vega. I see. And when will you tell him about the demon's arrival? Doomguy. Pronto. Vega. We don't have much time, sir. They'll arrive in at least a month. Doomguy. I know, we'll be ready for them. He says as he finishes. Doomguy. It may be a small amount, but they are dangerous. He says as he puts it away. Doomguy. I'll give him some time to cool off before I tell him. He says as he turns off the light and leaves the room. Vega. Understood, sir. It's been a few weeks since Izuku joined UA. He has made friends with Class 1A, he has not yet met Class 1B, but plans to do so, since Kiyoka told him that he should make some friends. At this moment we see him heading to the support class. Izuku. He hums while standing in front of the support class. Izuku. Maybe whoever's here can help me fix my mask. He says while knocking on the door. He waits a moment but there is no response so he knocks again. But again there is no answer, so he opens the door. The room is dark and it seems like there is no one here. But as he's about to leave, he notices a small light covering a desk, and it looks like someone is sleeping there. He walks towards them and sees a girl with pink hair sleeping with her head on the desk. Izuku. Excuse me, he says while taking the girl's shoulder. Mei. 5 more minutes. He says while sleeping while covering his head with his arm. Izuku. Sorry to interrupt you, but I need your help fixing my visor. Once he says that, the girl's eyes widen and she sits up immediately. Did someone say fix? She says as she looks at Izuku and sees Izuku looking at her. She can see his emerald eyes glowing in the dark and jumps in fear. Ah, she screams as she jumps and grabs a large hammer. Who are you? She asks as she points her hammer at Izuku. Izuku. Please calm down, I didn't mean to scare you. He says as he takes a step towards her. She sees this and throws her hammer at Izuku, but he catches it effortlessly. Mei. Vete, she screamed as she leaned against the wall. Izuku sighs and lowers the hammer. Izuku. Look, I'm sorry for scaring you, but I didn't mean to hurt you. He says as he places his helmet on the desk. Izuku. I just came here to ask if you could repair my helmet visor. As she said that, Mei was able to find the light switch and flipped it. The light slowly came on and revealed a large room filled with many inventions. Izuku didn't realize how big the room was since it was very dark, but he was honestly surprised by the amount of devices and equipment there were. Now that Mei was able to get a better look at Izuku, she realized who he was and gasped. Mei. Wait a minute, you're the Doom Killer. Izuku. I prefer Izuku. He says as Mei approaches him with supernatural speed. Mei. I'm so sorry about that. Anyway, my name is Mei Hatsume and I'm a huge fan of yours. She says as she shakes his hand very quickly. Izuku. It's okay. He says he was surprised she had so much energy because of how he found her. Mei. Anyway, you said you needed help with something. Izuku. Alright, I came here to see if anyone could fix my helmet visor. He says while pointing at the desk. Mei looked down at her desk and was amazed when she saw her helmet in the lamplight. She ran towards him as he began to inspect her. Mei. This is amazing. I've never seen such high-quality material. She says as she puts it on. She could see through the visors and noticed they had a crack that made it difficult to see anything. Mei. Oh, now I see. He says as he takes it off. Mei. Don't worry, I can fix it. He says as he puts it back on the desk. Izuku. Good to know. He says as he was about to leave. Mei. Wait, how do I tell you I'm done? She says as Izuku stops and thinks for a moment. Izuku. Right. He said as he walked towards her. Izuku. Could you take off your glove for a second? He asked as he took a pen out of his pocket. Mei. Sure. He says as he takes off his glove. Mei. So why did you want me to? Before she could finish, Izuku took her hand as he began to place something on the back of her hand. She was surprised by that and blushed a little. She didn't know why, but she really liked how his hand felt. When Izuku finished, he put the pen back in his pocket. Izuku. Here's my number, call me when you're done. He says as he lets go of her hand, but she doesn't let go. Izuku. What? He said as she stared at his hand, held in hers. He waved his other hand in front of her face and she recovered. Mei shocked face. Oh, sorry. She says as she lets go of his hand. Izuku. Okay, call me when you're done. He said as he started to leave. Mei. I will, she says as she watches him walk out the door. Once he closed it, he was about to put the glove back on, but realized the ink would have melted if he did. So he was left without a glove. He approached the helmet and looked at it for a bit. Mei. What the hell happened to me back there? As she spoke, she thought to herself about what she felt when Izuku took her hand. She held up his hand that had her number on it and a small blush grew on her face. Mei. That felt great, she says as a smile grows on her face. Mei. I wonder if we'll do that again, she thought to herself as she started working on Izuku's helmet. Meanwhile, we see Doomguy playing with Eri as he told Izuku that he would take care of her. Eri. More tea, Grandpa? She asked him while sitting on a toy chair. Doomguy. Yes, please. He said this while sitting in a toy chair that was too small for him. As Eri poured fake tea into her plastic cup, an alarm sounded. This caused Eri to jump in shock as she accidentally spilled the water on Doomguy. Eri. Oops, sorry, Grandpa, he said as he put down the teapot. Doomguy. It's okay honey, it was an accident, he said as he put down the plastic teacup and stroked her head. Doomguy. Why don't you go play while I go see what's going on? Eri. Okay Grandpa, he says as he runs away. Doomguy gets up and starts wiping the wet stain on his shirt. Doomguy. Vega, what's the situation? Vega. Looks like more demons are coming. Doomguy. Where? He asked as Vega displayed a holographic map. Vega. They will arrive in this area. The map has a red circle around Ua. Doomguy. Isn't that where Izuku goes to school? Vega. Should I actually warn you about demons? Doomguy. Yeah, he doesn't like surprises. Meanwhile, we see Izuku about to knock on the door of the Class 1B dormitory. But before he can do so, the door opens and he sees Tetsu there. And Izuku hits Tetsu's forehead. Tetsu. Hey. He says while rubbing his forehead. Izuku. Oh, blame me. He says while rubbing the back of his head. Tetsu. Oh, that's great, dude. He says as he looks at Izuku and realizes who he is. Tetsu. No way, you're the killer of Doom. He says he has stars in his eyes. Tetsu. It's an honor to meet you, sir. He says as he shakes Izuku's hand with excitement. Izuku. Why you don't have to be so formal, Izuku is fine. Tetsu. Okay, but what are you doing here? He asked as he let go of her hand. Izuku. I came here to introduce myself to Class 1B, and also to make some friends. Tetsu. Really? That's great, he says while having a big toothy smile. Tetsu. My name is Tetsu, but you can call me Tetsu. Izuku. Tetsu is so good. Tetsu. I'm sure the others would be delighted to meet you. He says as he steps aside to let Izuku in. Izuku. I hope so. Tetsu. Anyway, it was great meeting you Izuku, bye. He says as he leaves the bedroom and walks towards the elevator. He presses the button and the elevator closes and he stands there. Izuku. I wonder what they're like, he thought to himself. After a short period of time, the elevator doors opened and Izuku stepped out. He walked to the front door and knocked, hoping someone would answer. Next, he heard a voice on the other side of the door. He hears footsteps approaching the door and it opens to see a short girl with horns on her head. She looks up and is surprised to see Izuku. Izuku realizes that he had met her before when he defeated that bully on the street. Izuku. Oh, I didn't expect to see you again. He said. The pony didn't respond. Izuku. Are you okay? He asked Pony as she continued to stare at him. Pony. What are you doing here? She thought to herself that she never expected to see him again. Izuku just stood there awkwardly while rubbing the back of his head, not knowing what to do. Pony noticed her staring at him and blushed in embarrassment. Pony. Sorry for staring at you, she says while covering her face in embarrassment. Izuku. Okay, can I come in? Pony. Sure, he says as he steps aside. When Izuku enters, Pony closes the door. Pony. So what are you doing here? She asked as she walked beside him. Izuku. I came to make some friends, he says while rubbing the back of his head. Pony. Oh, I'm sure we'd love to be your friends. Izuku. I hope so, he said as they both ended up in the living room to see a girl with long hair that looked like vines. Pony. Hi Abara. Abara. What's up Pony? He asked as he looked back to see Pony and Izuku standing there. Pony. Izuku is here. Abara remembers who Izuku is and stands up. She walks up to him and stares at him for a moment before asking him a question. Abara. Do you believe in God? Izuku never expected this kind of question. Izuku. Why, Abara? I heard you've killed Hellspawn. Izuku. Oh, well, you can say that. Abara. I see, I'm glad our savior from the heavens brought a guardian to protect this world from the one in the depths of hell, she says as she puts her hands together and a ray of light shines on her. Izuku simply looks up, confused where the light is coming from, to see Pony standing on a table, holding a flashlight over her head, shining it at Abara as she did so. Abara. Anyway, it's an honor to meet you, Doom Slayer. She says as she shakes his hand. Izuku. You can just call me Izuku. He says as he shakes her hand too. Izuku. Where is everyone else? He asked as he looked around, noticing that the bedrooms were somewhat empty. Pony. They left a while ago. Abara. Pony and I decided to stay because we weren't interested in joining them. Izuku. Oh, I see. He says while Abara still holding his hand. Izuku. You're still holding my hand. Abara. Oh, forgive me. She says as she lets go of his hand. Abara. Your hand is very comforting to me. Izuku. It's okay. He says as he receives a notification on his phone. Izuku. Excuse me a moment, I have to get this. He said as he left the two girls alone. As he walks away from them, he takes out his phone and sees a message from his father. Doomguy. The demons are coming, you should probably take care of that. Izuku. Are they coming again? He thought to himself as he texted back. Izuku. Where? Doomguy. Yay, Izuku. Joder. Doomguy. Good luck kid. Izuku. Thank you. He sends her a text message as he puts his phone in his pocket and returns to the two girls. Izuku. Both of you need to get to a safe place. Pony. What? Why? Izuku. I just got an alert, there are demons coming here. Abara. Are you coming here? Izuku. Yeah, I need to go warn everyone else. Pony. I can help. I'm pretty fast. Izuku. Okay, tell Principal Nezu, he can tell everyone in the building. Pony. Oh okay, she says as she runs out of the dorms towards Nezu's office. Abara. And what about me? Izuku. You reach a safe place, these demons are more dangerous than a common villain. He says as he is about to leave to get his equipment. Abara. But I can help. She says as she grabs his hand. Izuku. Are you sure? He asked her while looking at her. Abara. Yes, I want to help you with this. Izuku. Sigh okay, follow me. He says as she lets go of his hand and follows him. Time skip. We see Izuku in his armor, waiting for the demons to arrive. He's not wearing his helmet because Mei was still fixing the visor. Abara. Where is your helmet? She asked him while dressed in her heroine costume. Izuku. Mei is still fixing the visor, she told me she would give it to me when she finished. Abara. Oh okay, when will they arrive? Izuku. Yo. He says as if he were listening, a red portal opens some distance from them. Some imps jump out of it, ready to feed on any living soul and spot Izuku and Abara. Izuku. Remember, we don't have to show mercy to these demons. He says as he takes out the shotgun and cocks it. Abara. Good. She said vines came out of the ground and surrounded the ground she was standing on. The imps yelled at both of them as they charged at Izuku and Abara. Abara was the first to attack, as she used her vines to grab some of them by the neck. Abara. We'll send you all back to the fiery pits of hell. She said as she crushed their necks with her vines. As she killed the imps with her vines, Izuku charged at them and started shooting at them. One of them jumped on Izuku, but he caught him by the neck and slammed him into the ground, crushing his head with his boot. And imp was right in front of Izuku, but he hit him with his weapon. He fell to the ground and was about to get up, but Izuku pushed him down with his boot and shot the imp in the back of the head with his shotgun. While he wasn't paying attention, an imp tried to attack Izuku from behind, but was caught by Abara. Abara. Izuku, you must pay attention, she says her vines grew thorns and stabbed the imp in the neck. Izuku. Thank you, he said as he continued killing more imps. Abara pressed her vines against the imp's throat, and its head came off due to the thorns on her vines. She threw the imp's corpse towards the other imps and some of them fell to the ground. While the goblins were on the ground, she used her vines and grabbed them from underground. As the imps squealed in pain from her thorns, she pulled her vines over the imps' bodies and tore them apart. There were only a few imps left and Abara caught them with her vines. She slammed them into the ground several times as Izuku watched. Izuku. Damn it, he thought to himself as Abara threw the dead imps away. Abara. Did we get them all? He asked while breathing heavily. Izuku. Yeah, I think so. He said as he climbed onto Abara. Izuku. Are you okay? Abara. Yes, I'm fine, just a little tired. Izuku. Okay, he says as he looks towards the red portal that is still open. Abara. What's wrong? Izuku. The portal should have closed by now. Abara. Does that mean? Izuku. Someone else is coming. He says as he watches something come out of the portal. When he came out he saw Izuku and Abara. Izuku. Joder. Izuku. A knight of hell. He said as the Hell Knight roared at Izuku and Abara. Izuku. We have to be careful with this one. Color. Understood today. He said as the Knight of Hell ran towards them. As Izuku ran towards the Hell Knight, Abara used her vines and grabbed the Hell Knight's foot, causing him to fall to his knees. As he did so, Izuku stepped in front of him and kneed him in the face, knocking him backward. Izuku stands over him and pulls out his sword from his glove and is about to stab him in the head, but the Hell Knight hits Izuku's arm and grabs him by the neck. Abara sees this and wraps her vines around the Hell Knight's arm. She makes thorns grow from her vines and they pierce the arm of the Knight of Hell. The Hell Knight roars in pain as he throws Izuku away from him and grabs the vines wrapped around his arm, tearing them off his arm. Abara continues to wrap her thorny vines around the Hell Knight, attempting to slow him down so Izuku can kill him. But because she is fatigued from fighting the imps, she is unable to keep the Hell Knight down for long. It is able to break free and tear off vines. He gets up and attacks Abara. Abara is too tired to react and the Hell Knight hits Abara. She falls to the ground and tries to get up, but the Hell Knight grabs her with his foot, lifts his foot and is about to stomp on her head, but Izuku pushes the Hell Knight and shoots him. The Hell Knight covers his face with his arm and knocks his weapon out of his hand. The Hell Knight tackles Izuku, causing Izuku to slide backward while in the Hell Knight's grasp. Izuku manages to avoid backing away and elbows the Hell Knight in the head. He lets Izuku go and he kicks the Hell Knight. Izuku. Shit, I hope Abara's okay. He thought to himself as he looked down at Abara who was on the ground. Izuku. I'm going to make you pay. He thought to himself as he stared at the Knight from Hell. The Hell Knight roared at Izuku as he charged at him. Izuku drew his sword and rushed towards the Hell Knight. The Hell Knight attacks Izuku again and throws him to the ground and was about to hit him with his fists. Izuku rolled out of the way and the Hell Knight's fists hit the ground. Izuku stood up and immediately kicked the Hell Knight in the head. The Hell Knight was stunned for a moment and Izuku jumped on his back and stabbed his sword into his back. The Hell Knight roars in pain as he tries to get Izuku off his back. Izuku simply pushes the sword deeper into the Hell Knight's back. The Hell Knight seems to have enough and is able to grab Izuku's leg. Izuku. Joder, he thought to himself as the Hell Knight threw Izuku off his back and began slamming him into the ground. When the Hell Knight stops and lifts Izuku up to his eye level, Izuku simply glares at him and spits blood in the Hell Knight's face. The Hell Knight roars at Izuku as he is about to knock him down again, but feels a shotgun blast in his back. He drops Izuku and turns around to see Mei wearing Izuku's helmet and holding his shotgun. Mei. Wow, this helmet is very powerful. And it's very comfortable. She says as the Knight of Hell roars at her. Mei. Hey, I'm in danger. She says as the Knight of Hell is about to attack her. Izuku gets up and sees this and gets angry. Izuku. I won't. Don't let it hurt anyone again. He thought to himself as he stood up and ran towards the Knight of Hell. As the Hell Knight was about to attack her, Izuku knocks him to the ground and falls on top of him. Izuku stands on his chest and starts stomping on his head. The Hell Knight tries to counterattack as he raises his arm and catches Izuku's leg. But Izuku jumps and stomps on his arm, breaking it. He roars in pain as his broken arm falls to the ground. Izuku stomps on the other arm and breaks it as well, ensuring the Hell Knight can't counterattack. Izuku. I'll make sure your death is slow, he says as he begins to brutally beat the Knight of Hell. As she does so, Mei notices Abara on the ground trying to get up. Mei runs towards her and lowers the shotgun. Mei. Hello, are you okay? She asked Abara as she looked at Mei and saw her with the helmet. Abara. What? Mei. What? Oh, it's not Izuku, he's over there. She says while pointing at Izuku beating up the Hell Knight. Abara. Oh, I see. She says as Mei helps her up. Mei. By the way, I'm Mei, what's your name? Abara. My name is Abara, thanks for the help. Mei. No problem, I'd be happy to help. She says as they both look towards Izuku, who seems to have finished off the Hell Knight. Izuku stops and looks at the Hell Knight as his head is sunken in and he definitely won't come back to life. He notices the two girls running towards him and jumps off the Hell Knight's desk, before giving him one last kick to the head. Izuku. Are you okay, girls? He asked as the portal closed. Mei. Yeah, but are you okay? That thing was throwing you all over the place. She says as she hands him back his shotgun. Izuku. I'm fine, I've been through worse. He says as he retrieves his shotgun. Izuku. And you, Abara. Are you okay? He asked as he walked over to her and held her cheek, making sure she was okay. Abara. I'm fine this week. She says as a small blush grows on her cheeks. Izuku. Are you sure? Abara. Why yes, I'm fine Izuku. She says as she takes his hand. Izuku. It's okay, I don't want anyone getting hurt on my watch. He said as Mei looked at them. Mei. Are you two dating? She asked, which made Abara's blush increase. Abara. No, we're just friends of our Lord and Savior. She says as she lets go of his hand. Izuku. He hummed as he approached me. Izuku. Can I have my helmet back? Mei. Oh right, he says as he takes it off and puts it on Izuku's head. Mei. It's so comfortable. Izuku. Thanks for fixing the visors. Mei. No problem, I'm glad I was able to fix this beautiful baby. She says while having a big smile. Mei. If you ever need someone to fix your baby, let me know. I'd love to help. Izuku. I'll thank you. She says as she looks towards the demons. Izuku. Now let's get rid of the demons' bodies. He says as he walks towards the dead Hell Knight and picks him up. Izuku. Do you think you could help me collect the bodies? Mei. Sure, she says as she runs towards a dead imp and drags him by the arm. Abara. Of course, Izuku. She says as she uses her vines to pick up the other dead imps. After a while we see the dead demons piled on top of each other. Mei. So what do we do now? Izuku. You'll see, he says as he pours gasoline over the dead demons. Once he's finished, he throws the can away and lights a match. Izuku. Would you mind doing the honor? He asked Abara as he handed her the match. Abara. It would be an honor for me. She says as she drops the match on the pile of demons and the pile bursts into flames. Mei. Wow, the fire is huge. She says she was behind Izuku and Abara. Mei. Right, guys. Guys. He asked them while looking at them. They were both staring at the fire with a small smile on their faces. Mei. Guys. He asked while tapping them on the shoulders. Abara. What, Izuku? Mei. Nothing. She says while shaking her head. Izuku. Oh, in that case I'll see you both around. He says as he walks away. Color. Goodbye today, Mei. See you later. They greet Izuku as he greets them back and disappears from their sight. Mei. That's so cool. She says she's like a fan. Abara. Indeed it is. She says while rubbing the cheek that Izuku was holding. Abara. He's perfect, she thinks to herself as a small blush grows on her face. Time skip. We see Izuku in his bedroom as he puts his hero suit in his closet just for his suit and closes it. He took a deep breath and stretched. As he did so, he felt a sharp pain near his lower back and went to the bathroom to see what it was. She looked in the bathroom mirror and saw that she had a large bruise there. Izuku. I probably got it from the Hell Knight. He says while rubbing his hand against the bruise. As he does so, he hears a knock at the door and pulls his shirt down again. He walks to the door and sees Pony. Izuku. Pony, what's she doing here? He thought to himself as he opened the door. Pony. Our Izuku. Izuku. Hey Pony, what brings you here? Pony. I saw what you did to the demons with Abara, Everyone saw it. She says as Izuku rubs the back of his head. Pony. Are you okay? We saw what the Hell Knight did to you, and I got a little worried. He says while rubbing his arm. Izuku. I'll be fine, I've been through worse. He says as he continues rubbing the back of his neck. Pony. Are you sure? Izuku. Now that you mention it, I'm feeling quite sore on the back of my neck from the fight. Pony. Maybe I can help. My mom taught me how to do massages, but that's if you're okay with it. She says while blushing. Izuku. That would be nice. He says as he steps aside. Izuku. Make yourself comfortable. He says as she nervously walks in. She looks around the room and didn't expect it to be so nice and comfortable. Izuku closed the door and walked to his bed. Izuku. Where do you want me to sit? He asked her as she stood in front of him. Pony. Here would be good. He says while pointing to the edge of his bed. Izuku nods as he walks over to his bed and sits on the edge. Pony climbs onto the bed and sits behind him. She mentally takes a deep breath to calm herself. Then he gently held her shoulders and began to massage them. Izuku hums in a relaxed tone as he enjoys it. And Pony was very nervous and had a blush on his face. As he continued massaging her shoulders, he realized her neck was hurting and stopped. Pony. I need you to lie on your stomach. She says as Izuku looks at her. Izuku. Okay then, he says as she steps aside. He moves to the bed and lies down on his stomach. Pony sits hesitantly on his back and begins to massage his back, moving up to the nape of his neck. Izuku just lies there and enjoys how comforting it feels. While Pony has a huge blush on her face. She can feel her whole body and has never massaged anyone other than her mother. This was the first time she gave a massage to a man. Izuku felt so relaxed that he almost fell asleep. But before he could do so, she stopped. Pony. Are you feeling better? She asked while still sitting on his back. Izuku. Your hands are soft. She blushed even more at his comment as she covered her face with her hands. Pony. Thank you, Izuku. You're also very light. He said as the pony blushed even more. As she got off Izuku's back, Izuku thought she got off because of how light she was. He rolled to the side to get up but Pony was surprised and slipped. Pony fell back onto Izuku but she was on her stomach. Izuku. Oh, sorry, I thought you had already left. He says as the pony looks at him with a big blush. Izuku. Pony, are you okay? He asked as he thought she had hit her head. He then placed his hand on his head, which pushed Pony beyond his limit. Because she was too nervous, she pressed her face against Izuku's chest, almost pushing him with her horns. Izuku. Did I do something wrong? He asked her because he didn't know what to do. Pony. And no, she said as she hugged him tightly. Izuku. Oh okay. He says as he lay there. As he lay there, he could feel her hair against his chin and noticed that it felt soft. Then he gently placed his hand on her hair and began to stroke her head. Pony was surprised by this, but it didn't stop him, because he honestly enjoyed it. Her fluffy little tail started to twitch as Izuku noticed. Izuku. Do you like this? He asked as he ran his fingers through his hair. Pony. She hummed as she moved closer to him, rubbing her face against his neck. Izuku could feel her warm breath hitting his neck and thought it was comforting. He put his arm around her back and rubbed her back. But he was taken by surprise when he felt something warm brush against his neck, making him shiver. Izuku. Pony, what are you doing? He asked as he lifted her up a little. Pony realized what he was doing and sat down. Pony. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. She says she felt very ashamed and guilty. Izuku. It's okay, Pony, accidents happen. He says as he sits down. Pony. I'm so sorry. She says as she covers her face and walks away from Izuku. Izuku. I already said it was okay, but I have pony girlfriends. Pony. Wait, did you say girlfriends? Kiyoka. Yes, he did. She says making Izuku and Pony jump in shock as they look towards the door and see her eating a chocolate bar. Pony. Jirou. I didn't mean. Kiyoka. Easy, Pony, I'm fine with that. She says the pony was confused. Kiyoka. Yeah, like I said, it's great. She says as she approaches them. Kiyoka. So yes, you want to go out with him, go ahead. He says as he finishes his chocolate bar and tastes the wrapper in the trash. Pony. But is Izuku okay with it? Kiyoka. Yes, Izuku and I have talked and we agree. She says as she kisses Izuku on the cheek. Kiyoka. Okay, I'm leaving now, good night. She says while rubbing Izuku's head before leaving and closing the door on her way out. Pony. So what does this make us? He asked while rubbing his arm. Izuku. Well, he says while hugging her from behind. Izuku. What do you want us to be? He asked as he wrapped his arm around her stomach and nuzzled his face into her neck. Pony blushed as she held his hand. Pony. So, can we go out? She asked in a shy tone. Izuku. If that's what you want, of course. He says while giving her a kiss on the cheek. She blushes as she gives a nervous smile. Izuku sees her reaction and smiles a little. He turns her around and sits her on his lap. Pony looks at him as she tilts her head, still blushing. He put his arm around her waist and kissed her all over her face. Her blush grew with each kiss and she laughed with a smile on her face. Izuku stops when he hears her laugh and she notices that he stopped and looks at him confused. But before she could ask what was wrong, he gently pressed his lips against hers and she blushed deeply. But the feeling of his lips against hers makes her feel somewhat calm and she slowly closes her eyes. She slowly raises her hand to her cheek and holds it gently. She kisses him back while using her other hand and holding his shoulder. While they were kissing, they didn't notice that the door was ajar. And peeking out of it was Kiyoka taking a picture of them. Kiyoka. He. They'll never know, he says in his head as he slowly closes the door and slips away. Izuku and Pony break the kiss as Izuku lies down with her in his arms. Pony. That was amazing. She says that was her first kiss. Izuku. Yeah, it was. Yawns wasn't it? He says as he puts his head on the pillow. Pony. See, can we do it again? Izuku. Yes, but I have a question. He says while stroking her head. Pony. What's wrong? Izuku. I gave you my phone number the first time we met, right? Pony. Why yes, Izuku. How come you never called? He asked as Pony started to get embarrassed. Pony. Well, flashback. Pony. Should I call him? He wondered as he stood in his room holding his phone. Pony. Maybe I'm busy right now, but maybe not. She didn't know what to do because she was too shy to call him. Pony. I don't know what to do, she says while blushing and hiding her face in the pillow. End of flashback. Pony. And that's what happened. She says she was ashamed to look at him. Izuku just had a small smile as he kissed his horn. Izuku. You're cute when you lie like this, he says as he turns onto his side, making her lie down in front of him. Pony was very embarrassed as she walked away from him and covered her face. Izuku simply hugged her from behind and kissed the back of her neck. Izuku. You don't have to be a shy pony, he says while caressing his face against her neck. Pony. It's okay yawn Izuku, she says as she starts to feel tired. Izuku. Are you tired of? Pony. Maybe, she says as Izuku puts the blanket over them. Izuku. Let's get some sleep, he says as he kisses her on the cheek once more. Pony. Yawn good night Izuku, she says as she hugs his arm around her. Izuku. Good night Pony, he says as he slides his arm under the pillow. And they both fall asleep together. We start this chapter when we see Izuku walking in the living room. He left Pony in her room because he didn't want to wake her up. When he enters the living room, he notices Sato in the kitchen. He looked quite frustrated and Izuku wondered why. Izuku. Good morning Sato. Sato. Oh, hola Izuku, he says while sighing. Izuku. Is something wrong? Sato. Yeah, I've run out of breakfast ingredients, so I have to go out and get some. Although Sato knew he needed to go out and find the ingredients, he didn't feel like leaving so early in the morning. Izuku noticed how Sato felt at that moment and decided to help him. Izuku. I could get it for you. Sato. Really, Izuku? Sato. That would be great, Izuku, Let me write down what I'll need. He says as he goes out to get a piece of paper and a pencil. Sato. I'll be right back. He says, leaving Izuku alone in the kitchen. While Izuku was in the kitchen waiting for Sato to return, some students noticed Izuku leaving to get some food. Mina. Hello Izuku. Izuku. Oh, good morning, Mina. Mina. I heard you were going out to get something to eat. Izuku. Sato needs some things to make breakfast. Mina. Well, since you're going out, do you mind if I ask you for something? Izuku. I guess it's okay, what do you need? Mina. Do you think you could get me something to snack on, like a bag of chips? Izuku. I can do that. He says as Mina smiles. Mina. Sweet thanks Izuku. Izuku. You're welcome, Mina. He says while stroking her head. Mina. Huh, she blushed as she looked at Izuku. Izuku. Oh, sorry. He says as he takes his hand off her head. Izuku. Your hair looked soft, I couldn't resist. He says while rubbing the back of his head. Mina. Oh, okay. She says with a nervous smile. While they were talking, Ochako walked into the kitchen and saw them. Ochako. Oh, good morning guys. She says she's still tired. Mina. Good morning Ochako, how is your boyfriend? She asked with a smile. Ochako. Oh, he's fine. She says that Izuku noticed something was wrong with Ochako. Mina. I'm still trying to figure out how you fell in love with someone so loud and moody. Ochako. He's a nice guy once you get to know him. She says as she makes herself some coffee. Mina. Well, he's been in our class for months and he's still an idiot. Ochako. Look, he may be mean from time to time, but he's a very nice guy. He says while looking at the ground a little. Izuku. Are you sure? Ochako. Yes, he's kind to me. He says as he takes his coffee and takes a sip. Izuku. Okay then, he says as Ochako walks out of the kitchen. Mina noticed the look Izuku had as he watched her leave. Mina. Is something wrong Izuku? Izuku. I feel like he's not telling us something. Mina. I'm sure it's nothing, she looked pretty tired. Izuku. Maybe, he says while crossing his arms. Mina. Well, I'm leaving now, my show will be back soon. She says as she walks away. Mina. See you later, Izuku. She says greeting him. Izuku waves back as she heads back into the living room. And soon after, Sato returns and has a list of things for Izuku to get. Sato. Here you go. He says as he gives it to her. Izuku looks at him and remembers that Mina wanted a bag of chips. Izuku. Do you have a pencil? Sato. Sure, why? He asked as he gave it to Izuku. Izuku. Mina wanted something for. He says while writing what Mina wanted. Sato. Well, why don't you check if anyone else wants something? Izuku. Okay. He says as he hands the pencil back to Sato. Sato. Actually, why don't you save it? You might need it more than I do. He says as he hands it back. Izuku. Oh, okay. He says as he takes it and walks away. Sato. Thanks again, he says as Izuku walks out of the kitchen. He starts asking the class what they would like, but not many wanted anything, well, except Ochako. Ochako. Do you think you could bring me some mochi? Izuku. I can do that. He says as he writes it. Ochako. Thanks Izuku. She says with a smile. Izuku. Once he finishes, he looks up from his sheet of paper. Izuku. Is that all? Class 1A except Katsuki. Yes. Izuku. Okay, I'll go now. He says as he starts to leave. Kiyoka. Be careful, baby. She says while sitting on the couch next to Mina. Izuku. I will, he says as he walks away. Once you step out the door, you walk toward the elevator and press the button, waiting for it to open. As he does so, he notices someone behind him and looks back to see Bakugo looking angry. Katsuki. Listen here Deku. Izuku. What do you want Bakugo? She asked while staring at him. Katsuki. Stay away from Ochako, she's mine. Izuku. All I did was ask if they wanted anything and she did it. Katsuki. I don't give a shit, if I see you around here I'll kill you. Izuku. You can't tell me what to do, he says as the elevator doors open. Katsuki. What the fuck did you say? Izuku. Did you hear what I said? He says as he walks in and presses the button for the first floor. Katsuki. I'm gonna fucking kill you, he says as the doors close in Katsuki's face. Katsuki got angry and stormed off. Katsuki. Who does that nerd think he is? Just because he got stronger, he thinks he can tell me what to do. I'll show him what happens when you look down on me, he thought to himself as he walked back to the living room, angry that Izuku just ignored him. Time skip. Izuku just finished his shopping. Although the list was quite short, he decided to buy some extra ingredients, just in case. Right now, you are leaving the store with the groceries you need. Izuku. I think I have it all, he thought to himself as he looked at the shopping list. But as it was, he wasn't paying attention to where he was walking and he bumped into someone. The person almost fell but Izuku was able to catch her. Izuku. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, he says as he saves the list. Okay. I wasn't paying attention to where I was walking, she says while looking at him. Oh, wait a minute, she says as she stands up. It's been so long since I've seen you again. Izuku. Oh, I remember you, he says as he lets her go. Izuku. You're the woman who was watching Eri when I went to catch the criminal. Mitsuki. I'm Mitsuki. I'm not sure I told you my name. Cold sweat smile, he says while rubbing the back of his head. Izuku. I don't think so. Mitsuki. Well, it's good to see you again. What are you doing here? She asked as she looked at her shopping bag. Mitsuki. I was shopping for food for my class at UA, he says as he lifts his bag. Mitsuki. I see. Well, we never properly introduced ourselves. My name is Mitsuki Bakugo, he says as he extends his hand. Izuku. I'm Izuku, he says as he shakes her hand. Mitsuki. No last name. Izuku shakes his head at her answer. Mitsuki. I see. Well, I want to know if we could get to know each other more and also thank you for defeating that criminal. Izuku. You don't need to thank me, I was just doing what had to be done. Mitsuki. Still, I want to thank you. Why don't you come to my house for dinner? Izuku. I mean, if it's okay with you, I guess I could go, he said while rubbing the back of his head. Mitsuki. Great, let me write you my home address, he says as he takes out a piece of paper and a pen. Izuku. You just carry that around with you. Mitsuki. It's better to be prepared than not to be prepared, right? She asked as she wrote down her address and gave it to him. Izuku. Okay, then see you later today, he says as he puts it away. Mitsuki. Okay, see you soon, she says as she blows him a kiss before walking past him. Izuku. Mitsuki Bakugo, Katsuki's mentor is, he thought to himself as he pondered for a moment. Izuku. I would definitely hate this, he thought to himself with a small smile. Time skip. After a while, we see Izuku about to enter the dorms. But when he opened the door, there was a bucket on top of the door and it spilled water on Izuku. Katsuki. Ha ha ha, get pranked, Deku, he says while laughing at him along with Denki, Kirishima and Shiro. Denki. We've got you covered, good friend, he says while patting Izuku on the shoulder. Izuku. She hummed as her wet hair covered her eyes. Kiyoka. Guys, really, she says as she approaches them. Kiyoka. You're making a mess and why would you play that prank on Izuku? Izuku. That's a beautiful, he says as he shakes off the water, spreading it everywhere. Kiyoka. Izuku. We are here, he says while covering his face. Izuku. I'm sorry, but it's okay Kiyoka, it was just a harmless joke, he says while looking slightly at Katsuki with a small glance, without anyone noticing. Kirishima. Anyway, do you need help with the shopping, bro? Izuku. Yes, could you put away the groceries? He asked as he handed them the groceries. Kirishima. Sure bro, we can do it, he says as he runs to the kitchen with the groceries. Kiyoka. I'll give this to Mina for you, he says as he takes the bag of chips from Kirishima's shopping bag. Once everyone leaves, Katsuki approaches Izuku and gets closer to him. Katsuki. Next time don't ignore me, or I'll kick your ass. He whispers to Izuku as he walks away laughing. Izuku just sighs as he walks to his room to clean up. Short time skip. While Izuku is in the shower, he is thinking about Katsuki's joke. Izuku. Why is Bakugo like this? I never did anything to him. He thought to himself, as he was quite upset about it. After a while, he turns off the water and gets out of the shower. He takes his and starts drying himself off as he leaves the bathroom. As he walks out of the bathroom, he notices Kiyoka sitting on the bed. Izuku. Hola Kiyoka. He greets her as he dries his hair. Kiyoka. Hello Izu, are you okay? Izuku. Kiyoka. Are you sure? I noticed you and Bakugo aren't very good friends. Izuku. I'm fine, I don't know why he hates me so much. He says as he walks to his closet to get dressed. Kiyoka. He's always like this with everyone, but it's like he's mostly chasing you. Izuku. I'm sure it'll stop eventually. Kiyoka. Yeah, I don't see that happening. She says as Izuku finishes getting dressed. Izuku. You might be right. He says while sighing. Kiyoka. Don't worry Izuku, she may not like you that much, but think about the people who do. She says as she stands up and walks towards him. Kiyoka. Me for example. She says as she hugs him from behind. Izuku. Yes, yes. He says as he turns around and hugs her. Kiyoka. You know for someone as big and muscular as you give the best hugs. Izuku. See, Kiyoka. Definitely, she says as she walks up to him and kisses his cheek. Izuku smiles a little and kisses her back on the cheek. Izuku. Glad to hear it. He says as he breaks the hug. Izuku. As much as I'd like to spend the rest of my time with you, I have to prepare. He says as he breaks the hug. Kiyoka. What for? Are you going on a date or something? Izuku. No, Bakugo's mom invited me to her house. He says while Kiyoka looks surprised. Kiyoka. What is the seriousness? Izuku simply nods at her answer. Kiyoka. Damn it, what for? Izuku. We met one day, but we didn't talk much because I was in a hurry to get to you. Kiyoka. Oh, was that when I met Eri? Izuku. Kiyoka. Oh, okay. She says as Izuku starts putting on his shoes. As it was, Kiyoka had an idea and put a mischievous smile on her face. Kiyoka. Hey Izuku, what do you think of her? Izuku. I think she's pretty. He says as Kiyoka smiles at that. Kiyoka. Well, I think I might have an idea on how you could get revenge on Bakugo for that prank. Izuku. How? He asked as Kiyoka sat down next to him and began to tell him her plan. Time skip. We see Izuku arrive at the Bakugo residence and he is standing at the front door. He plays and listens to Mitsuki on the other side. Mitsuki. Yavoy. She screams as Izuku can hear her walking towards the front door. The front door opens and, to Mitsuki's surprise, she sees Izuku. Mitsuki. Oh, hello Izuku, I didn't expect you to arrive so early. Izuku. Sorry, should I do some cocaine again later? Mitsuki. No, come on. She says to Izuku as she lets him in. Once he enters the house, he takes off his shoes and leaves them against the wall. Mitsuki. Please make yourself at home. She says as she closes the door and walks past Izuku. Mitsuki. I'll let you know when dinner's ready. Izuku. Okay. He says as he walks into the living room. He looks around and notices some photographs of Mitsuki and Katsuki together, along with a man he's never seen before. Izuku. Could he perhaps be her husband? He thought to himself as he picked up the photo frame. As he looked at the image, he heard Mitsuki scream in pain. Izuku. Is everything okay? He asked as he put the photograph away and walked towards her. Mitsuki. Why yes I'm fine, I just got a little burned. She says while holding her finger. Izuku. Can I see your finger? He asked as he stood next to Mitsuki. Mitsuki. You don't have to, I'm fine. She says while smiling. Izuku. I insist. He says while holding his finger. Mitsuki. See, I'm fine. She says as Izuku brings his finger closer to her face. Mitsuki had no idea what she was doing until Izuku kissed her finger, making her blush. Mitsuki. Izuku. What are you doing? She asked as Izuku let go of her finger. Izuku. Sorry, I thought it would help with the pain. He says while rubbing the back of his head. Mitsuki. Oh, okay, thanks. She says as she shakes off her blush. Mitsuki. Calm down, Mitsuki. We're just going to talk for a little while, that's all. She thought to herself as she continued preparing dinner for her and Izuku. Time skip. After a while we see Izuku and Mitsuki sitting on the couch since they have already finished eating and we are just talking. Izuku. If I may ask, who is the man in that photo? He asked while pointing at the photo. Mitsuki. Oh, he was my husband back then, but we got divorced. He says while rubbing the back of his neck. Izuku. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Mitsuki. It's okay, I've overcome it. She says while having a smile. Izuku. No, you didn't. He says as Mitsuki is taken by surprise. Mitsuki. What? Izuku. I can tell by your fake smile. He says as Mitsuki sighs. Mitsuki. Okay, you got me. He says while sighing in a sad tone. Izuku. What's wrong? He asked her as she rubbed her arm. Mitsuki. Well, do you ever get the feeling that something happened because of you? Izuku. I do, I know that feeling very well. He says while rubbing the back of his head. Remember how Yukio broke up with him? Izuku. I wondered if what happened was because of the choices I made, but I didn't let that stop me since I could learn from them and make better choices. He says while looking down. Mitsuki. I guess that's a good way to put it. She says while looking down as well. Izuku. So what I'm saying is that it wasn't your fault what happened between you and your husband. He says as he takes her hand. Mitsuki blushes as she looks at Izuku with a confused expression. Izuku. It's his fault that he left someone as beautiful as you. Mitsuki. Wow. Her blush grows more because she doesn't know what to say. Mitsuki. Do you think I'm beautiful? Izuku. I'd be blind if I said otherwise. He says while taking her hands. Izuku. There are many things I could describe about you that I find truly beautiful, but I'd be sitting here for hours if I did. Mitsuki. Why you can if you want. She says she wanted to hear what he had to say. Izuku. Well, your hands feel warm and soft when I hold them. He says while rubbing her hands with his thumbs. Mitsuki squeezes her hands without her noticing since she was too nervous to notice. Izuku. Your eyes are something no words can describe. They are beautiful, I can look at them for hours. He says while looking into her eyes. Mitsuki looks into his eyes and has a nervous smile. Izuku. And seeing your smile is something truly magnificent. He says as Mitsuki covers her face in embarrassment. Mitsuki. Oh okay, you can stop now. He says while turning his back on her. Mitsuki. Oh my god. Calm down, Mitsuki, you're going to scare him. She thought to herself as she rubbed her cheeks. Mitsuki. Am I really that beautiful? She asked while still turning her back on him. Izuku. Of course, and sitting next to you makes me feel honored to be around you. He says while hugging her from behind. Mitsuki blushes as she feels his arms around her stomach. Izuku. And if anyone says otherwise, then they've never seen anyone as beautiful as you. He says looking at Mitsuki towards him. Mitsuki. Eres su. Before she could finish, Izuku held her cheek and kissed her. Her eyes widened as her face was redder than Kirishima's hair. Izuku. Do you believe me now? He asked as he broke the kiss. Mitsuki. What just happened? She thought to herself as she was stunned by the sudden kiss she received from Izuku. Izuku. Mitsuki. He asked as Mitsuki looked at him. Mitsuki. Izuku. Are you okay? Mitsuki. Fuck it. Izuku. 4. Before he could finish, Mitsuki pulled him into a deep kiss. Izuku was caught off guard when Mitsuki leaned forward, causing Izuku to lie down with her on top of him. Mitsuki broke the kiss as she looked at him with a smile. Mitsuki. You're a great kisser. He says while wiping his mouth. Izuku had a small blush on his face as he didn't expect her to do that at all. Izuku. Thank you. he says while wiping his mouth and looking to the side. Mitsuki. What's wrong? You were the one who kissed me first. Did you realize you can't control me? She asked as she rested her head on the palm of her hand and laid her arm across her chest. Izuku. No, it's not that, you just took me by surprise. He says while holding her by the waist. Mitsuki. Then show me what else you can do with that tongue of yours. But before I could finish, what she was saying was interrupted by her phone ringing in the kitchen. Mitsuki. Oh shit, sorry, let me go get that quickly. She says as she gets off Izuku and heads to the kitchen. As she walked into the kitchen, Izuku sat down because he needed a quick breather. Izuku. I guess Kiyoka was right after all, but how did she know this would work? He thought to himself as he held his chin. Izuku. Whatever the case, I'll do whatever it takes to make Mitsuki happy. He thought to himself as he heard Mitsuki scream. Mitsuki. Katsuki, you seriously called me for this? She screams because she seems angry. Izuku. Mitsuki suena loco. He thought to himself as he got up from the sofa and walked towards Mitsuki. Mitsuki. Just because I'm your mother doesn't mean I have to do everything you want, you little brat. She says as Izuku stood behind her listening. Mitsuki. And stop calling me an old hag, I'm your mother. Izuku. Is this how Katsuki always treated his mother? He thought to himself as he approached her from behind. Mitsuki. Why do you have to be so? Before she could finish, she felt Izuku hug her from behind with his arms around her stomach. He nuzzles his face into her neck and she sighs as he rubs her arm. Mitsuki. I'll call you later. She says as Izuku kisses her cheek. Mitsuki. Because I don't have time to take care of you right now. He says while stroking her head. Then Izuku starts kissing her neck while he hears Katsuki screaming on the other end of the phone. Mitsuki. Because I have other important things to do besides listening to you complain. Katsuki. Damn it, old man, ha 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 ha. Before he could finish, she moves the phone away from her ear. Izuku. He sounded angry. Mitsuki. Yes, but right now I don't care about anything. He says as he hangs up the phone. Then she turns around and rests her arms on his shoulders. Mitsuki. I said I have more important things to do. She says with a smile as she pulls Izuku towards her for a kiss. Time skip. It's been a few hours since Izuku and Mitsuki started and right now we see him on the couch with Mitsuki naked. Mitsuki. Damn, that was amazing. She says while breathing heavily. Izuku. Are you okay? He asked while rubbing her back. Mitsuki. I'm fine, just very tired. She says as she nuzzles his head against her chest. Izuku. He hummed as he lay there, rubbing his back as he wondered what to do now. Mitsuki. Hey, can I ask you something? She asked as she sat on her stomach. Izuku. What's wrong? He asked while holding his thigh. Mitsuki. Do you think you and I could, be something? He asked while rubbing the back of his neck. Izuku. You mean like a couple? Mitsuki. Yes, if you want, of course. Izuku. I don't see why not, but I'll have to ask Kiyoka and the others. Mitsuki. Others? Izuku. I have to ask my girlfriend first. Mitsuki. Oh, aren't you single? Izuku. I'm not really sure anymore. He says as he stretches. Izuku. But I think I am. Mitsuki. That's enough for me. She says as she kisses him on the lips. He smiles a little as he kisses her back. She smiles as she breaks the kiss and walks away from him. Mitsuki. I'm going to take a shower, do you want to come? Izuku. I'll be there right away. He says as Mitsuki kisses him on the cheek. Mitsuki. Okay, but don't make me wait. She says while laughing to herself before walking away. Izuku watches her walk away and stands up. Izuku. I should let Kiyoka know what happened. He thought to himself as he went out to get his pants. Meanwhile, we see Kiyoka relaxing in her room while listening to music on her bed. But her music stops when she starts receiving a call on her phone. She checks who's calling and smiles when she hears the name on her phone. The Broccoli Man. Kiyoka. Hee, Broccoli Man. She says as she answers the call. Kiyoka. Hola Izuku. Hola Kiyoka. Kiyoka. So, how did it go? She asked as she lay on her stomach and rested her hand on his palm. Izuku. It was okay, she's quite nice. Kiyoka. Fine. Bakugo's going to be mad when he finds out about this. Izuku. True, but maybe we should keep it a secret for a while. Kiyoka. Why? Izuku. Because I'm pretty tired right now and I don't want to deal with their screams. Kiyoka. Oh, okay. So you're coming back, Izuku. I'm just going to take a shower before. Kiyoka. Okay, can we hug when you get back? Izuku. I like our hugs. Kiyoka. Me too, she says while laughing to herself. Izuku. By the way, is it okay if Mitsuki joins? Kiyoka. Does she want to join? Izuku. Kiyoka. And she thinks it's okay to share. Izuku. It seems that. Kiyoka. Then everything is ready. Izuku. Okay, I'll let him know before I leave. Kiyoka. Okay, I'll be waiting for you. Izuku. It's okay, I love you. He says it while Kiyoka hears him say it in a shy tone. Kiyoka. Hee, I love you too, big guy. He says while kissing the air before ending the call. Kiyoka. It's okay, he's tired and wants hugs. I have to make this as comfortable as possible. He says as he turns around and falls out of bed onto his feet. Kiyoka. For both of us. Time skip. It's been about an hour and a half since the call with Kiyoka and Izuku ended. At this moment we see Izuku enter the dorms and finds an upset Pomeranian. Izuku just wanted to walk past him, but Bakugo stopped him when he grabbed his neck. Bakugo. Stop right there. He says as Izuku sighs and turns around. Izuku. What, Bakugo? Where the hell have you been? He asked with his arms crossed. Izuku. You don't need to know anything about what I do. He says while crossing his arms. Bakugo. TCH. She bumps shoulders with Izuku as she walks past him, not saying a word. Izuku. That was weird. He thought to himself as he started heading towards Kiyoka's room. Once he arrived, he knocked on the door and once it opened, he saw Kiyoka with a big smile on her face. Izuku. You seem very happy. He says as she jumps towards him and hugs his neck. Kiyoka. That's because you're here, Izu. He says while kissing her cheek. Izuku hugs her and kisses her cheek too. Izuku. Can I come in? He asked as Kiyoka looked at him. Kiyoka. Of course you can. She says as she lets him go. He walked in and was surprised to see a bunch of pillows and a blanket that looked very comfortable. Kiyoka. Thanks to Momo, I was able to get the most comfortable, warm, and soft blanket and pillows in the world. He says as he closes the door. Kiyoka. What do you think? She asked Izuku. Izuku. I think I've fallen more in love with you. He says as Kiyoka blushes with a smile. Kiyoka. Oh thank you. He says as he sits on the bed. Izuku. Can I go thank Momo for this? Kiyoka. You can't take too long. She says as Izuku nods and leaves his room. He walks to Momo's room and knocks on the door. Momo. Momo. Who could it be? She thought to herself as she stood up and walked towards the door. She opens it and is surprised to see Izuku. Momo. Izuku. What are you doing here so late? She asked as a small blush appeared on her cheeks. Izuku. I wanted to say, thank you for your wonderful gifts for Kiyoka. Momo shocked face. Oh, it was nothing. She says while smiling. Izuku then hugged her, surprising her when her blush increased even more. But she just hugged him back as she closed her eyes and rested her face against his chest. Momo. This feels relaxing. She thought to herself as Izuku rubbed her back. Momo. You're welcome. He says as he breaks the hug. Izuku nodded as he started to walk back. Izuku. By the way. He says while looking at Momo. Izuku. I'd like to have tea with you again soon. He said with a small smile. Momo shocked face. Oh, well, I can't wait for that day. She says as Izuku nodded before leaving and closing the door for her. Once she did, Momo immediately turned red and grabbed her face. Momo. Her smile is so beautiful. She thought to herself as she sat up in her bed and screamed into her pillow. After that, Izuku returned to Kiyoka's room and saw the door open. She was lying in bed covered with a blanket while waiting for Izuku to return. He walked into the room and closed the door behind him and Kiyoka noticed. Kiyoka. Oh, you're back, she says as she sits on the blanket. Izuku. He says as he approaches the bed. Kiyoka opened her arms, inviting him to get under the blanket with her. Then he hugs her and lies down on the bed with her. Kiyoka smiles as she covers herself with the blanket, along with Izuku as they begin to hug each other. Kiyoka. This is cute, she says as Izuku buries his face against her neck. Izuku. Kiyoka. Yawn. So, did anything interesting happen today? He asked while rubbing his eyes. But Izuku didn't answer her and she looked at him to see him fast asleep. She smiles as she caresses her cheek against his and closes her eyes. Kiyoka. Good night, Izuku, she says as she slowly falls asleep with Izuku in her arms. As Doomguy watched Eri and Deku play together, a siren sounded causing Eri to jump in shock. Izuku and the boy of Doom knew what the siren was for and looked at each other. Izuku. His back, he said as he got up from the couch. Doomguy. And he's a big one, he said as they both started getting ready. Eri. What's wrong? She asked as she peeked over the couch to see them setting up their gear. Izuku. Bad people are coming, Eri, my dad and I have to take care of them, he said. Doomguy gave him his armor. Eri. Is Grandpa going too? Doomguy. Izuku will need help, he said as they both put on their armor. Izuku. I'll see if Mika will watch Eri while we're out, he said as he started calling Mika. Eri. Will we be okay? She asked as she approached them. Doomguy. He said while stroking her head. Doomguy. This isn't anything we haven't dealt with before, we'll be fine. Eri. Oh okay, she says as Izuku hangs up the phone. Izuku. It's okay, she said I could take care of her. Doomguy. Okay, I'll send a portal to your location so you can get here, he said as he walked away. Izuku. It's okay, Eri, he said as he bent down towards her. Izuku. I need you to behave yourself with Mika, he said while stroking her head. Eri. Okay dad, I'll be good, she says while smiling. Izuku. I know you will, he said as he kissed her forehead. Doomguy. It's okay, Izuku, he said as he walked back with his helmet on. Doomguy. They'll attack a train station, Vega will teleport us there, he said as he had his sawed-off shotgun ready. Izuku. Okay, he said as he stood up and put on his helmet. A blue portal opened and they were both ready to leave. Doomguy. Goodbye, Eri, he waved to her as she walked through the door. Eri. Goodbye Grandpa, she gestured to him with her hand. Izuku. Goodbye Snowflake, he said as he waved at her and she smiled. Eri. Bye Dad, be careful, he said while beckoning her with his hand. Izuku smiled under his mask as he walked through the portal. The portal closes and another opens, with Mika walking through it. Eri. Mom, he said as he ran towards her and hugged them. Mika. Different, he said as he hugged her back. Mika. Have Izuku and his father left already? Eri. Yes, they went to fight the bad guys, he said as he raised his fist in the air. Mika laughed at his pose and stroked his head. Mika. Are you hungry? She asked Eri, whose stomach growled. Eri. Maybe, she said while blushing in embarrassment. Mika laughed and took her hand. Mika. Come on, I'll make you something, she says as she walks into the kitchen with Eri. Meanwhile, we see Ryako sitting on her couch, flipping through channels, trying to find something to entertain herself. Ryako. Sigh. I wish Izuku was here, she says she missed him. Ryako. Was breaking up with him the right thing to do? He thought as he looked down a little. While she was thinking, her phone rang and she sighed. She picked up the phone and answered. Ryako. Hola. Mirko. Hello Ryako, she said on the other end of the phone. Ryako. Mirko, why are you calling me? Ryako. Can't I say hi to my best friend? Ryako. Well, sorry. I've been really tired lately, he said while rubbing his eyes. Mirko. Ryako, is this about your breakup with your boyfriend? Ryako. No, he said as he remained silent for a while. Mirko. If you say so, he said as he sighed through the phone. Mirko. Anyway, we have a mission right now. Ryako. Sigh in a series. Mirko. Yeah, just get ready, I'll send you the location. Ryako. Okay, see you in a moment. Mirko. Okay, see you soon. He said as he ended the call. Ryako. Sigh, okay, let's go. He said as he got up from the couch and started getting ready. Time skip. We see Ryako sitting on a park bench while waiting for Mirko. Ryako. Why's it taking so long? He wondered what he would call her again. But before she could take out her phone, a portal opened in front of her. She saw the boy of doom walk through the portal. Ryako. Izuku. Doomguy, I think you've got the wrong person. He said as Izuku walked over and saw Ryako. Izuku. Ryako. Izuku and Ryako. What is he doing here? They thought as they both looked at each other. Doomguy. Don't you know each other or? He said confused by what was happening. Izuku and Ryako. We were just They both sighed as Ryako looked to the side and rubbed the back of her head. Izuku. We used to hang out. He said while looking away. Boy of Doom. Oh. He said as he looked at her. Doomguy. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Ryako. It's a pleasure to meet you too. He said as everyone fell silent. There was an awkward silence because none of them knew what to do. The Doom boy felt very uncomfortable because he felt he shouldn't be there. Luckily someone came and broke the awkward silence. Mirko. Sorry it took me so long to get here, I had to hit an old man with a stick. Ryako. What? Why? He said while looking at her angrily. Mirko. Relax, he was a villain who stole a child to make some money. Villains nowadays are getting rarer and rarer. He said as he noticed the two in armor. Mirko. You. He said pointing at Izuku as he remembered him. Izuku. Hello. He said greeting him. Mirko. You're the guy who kicked ass easily. She said as she approached him. Mirko. I want a rematch. Izuku. I don't think now is the perfect time. He said as Mirko approached him. Mirko. Come on, for someone as strong as you. I want to see you fight at your best. He said as Izuku stepped back a bit from his sudden energy. Ryako. Mirko. She said as Mirko looked at her. Mirko. What? Ryako. Aren't we supposed to be on a mission right now? He asked while having his arms crossed and his eyes slightly narrowed. Mirko. Oh right, he said as he walked away from Izuku. Mirko. You two must be the backup. Doomguy. Yeah. He said as he shook her hand. Mirko. I don't think we knew each other. Doomguy. I'm Izuku's father. Mirko. Really? He said as he looked at both of them. Mirko. You both look almost identical but you're a little taller, I thought you were brothers. Doomguy. I can see why. He said as they looked at each other, realizing they had the same armor. But Doomguy noticed something on the side of his helmet. Doomguy. What's that? He asked while pointing at Izuku's helmet. Izuku. What is what? He asked as Mirko looked at him. Mirko. Hey, I didn't know you would draw on your helmet. Izuku. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. He said as he took off his helmet and looked at him. Izuku. It's just a little drawing Eri put on my helmet. He said as he looked at him. It was a small rose that Eri drew. When Eri first drew it, Izuku saw it and decided to add some details to it. Eri loved it and Izuku was glad she liked it. Izuku. She thought it would make me prettier. Mirko. I want to meet this boy. He said he was very close to Izuku and looked at the helmet. Izuku blushed a little as he turned his head away from her. Ryuko saw this and stared at Mirko. Ryuko. What do you think you're doing? We're supposed to be on a mission. We're not flirting with Izuku. He thought while having his arms crossed. Suddenly, the Boy of Doom received an alert and checked it out. Boy of Doom. Shit. He said in a low voice and the others heard. Izuku. What's wrong, Dad? Doomguy. There's another area the demons are attacking. Izuku. Shit. Where? Doomguy. Looks like a train yard a few miles away. Izuku. Okay, I'll go there now, he said putting on his helmet. Ryuko. I'll go with you. Mirko. But I want to go. I want to see what he can do. He said as he stood next to Izuku. Ryako. But I can get us there faster. Mirko. It's only a few kilometers, I'm sure we'll get there fine. He said as they butted heads. Izuku and Doomguy were watching the fight over who would go with Izuku. Doomguy. How long are you two going to be fighting like this? Izuku. An idea. The girls were still arguing over who would go with Izuku, but their argument stopped when a portal opened behind Izuku and Doomguy. Izuku. Shit, they're here, he said as he pulled out his sawed-off shotgun. Doomguy. Get over to that train yard now, he said as the demons jumped out of the portal. Izuku. Right, he said as he grabbed Mirko's hand as she got closer. Izuku. We don't have much time, let's go, he said. He ran out to the train yard with her. Mirko ran with him while looking at Ryako with a smile. Ryako. Maldita sea, she thought as the boy of doom called her. Doomguy. Come help me here, he said as he shot one of the demons. Ryako. Bien, he said as he turned into his dragon form and roared. Ryako. I better not try anything with Izuku or that'll help me, he thought as he attacked the demons. Doomguy. Damn Izuku, how did you find a girl like her? He thought as a demon leapt at him but caught him by the throat. Doomguy. It's been a while since I killed a demon, he said looking at him. Doomguy. I'll take my time destroying each and every one of you, he said, crushing his throat and throwing him dead to the ground. Doomguy. Now, he said as he reloaded his gun. Doomguy. Who's the first? Meanwhile, Izuku and Mirko arrive and see nothing but a bunch of trains. Izuku. Okay, Dad said they should come soon, he said as he approached a train car and opened the door, sitting inside as Mirko sat next to him. Mirko. They are, he said swinging his legs. Mirko. What is your exercise routine? Izuku. I exercise until I can't move. Mirko. Sounds extreme, I love it, she said as she approached him. Mirko. I've never met someone who was able to defeat me so easily, you're something really special, she said as Izuku looked at her. Izuku. You just have to push yourself beyond your limits. Mirko. That sounds difficult, I love it, he said with a smile. Izuku. You must really enjoy being active. Mirko. Yes, I love feeling my blood pump. Izuku. It's kind of fun. Mirko. Hey, do you think we could train together? I want to be able to reach your power level. Izuku. We'll see, he says as they both look ahead, waiting for the demons to come. Mirko didn't like the silence, just like Izuku didn't really mind it. Mirko. They are, he said trying to think of something to break the silence. Mirko. Are you single? He said as they both looked at each other. Izuku. Well, I have a girlfriend, well, a few, he said while Mirko looked surprised. Mirko. Are you saying you have several girlfriends? Izuku. He hummed as he looked ahead again. Mirko. Yeah. Mirko. I mean, who wouldn't want this kind of guy? He seems pretty sweet, he thought as he looked at Izuku. Mirko. I have no idea why Ryako broke up with this guy, he seems like a great guy. Mirko. So, are you saying anyone can join your relationship? Izuku. It depends on what the girls think of them, if they think they can join, then they'll let them. Mirko. I see, he says while looking ahead. Mirko. You know, I can understand why so many girls like you. Izuku. Seriously? He asked looking at her. Mirko. Yeah, I don't know much about you, but I'm sure you're a sweet guy underneath that armor, he said as he leaned on his arm. Izuku. Thank you, he said while staring at her. Mirko. No problem, big guy, he said as he looked at him. Mirko. Hey, can I take off your helmet for a second? She asked as Izuku tilted his head. Izuku. Why? Mirko. I just want to check something. Izuku. Okay, he said as Mirko reached for his mask and took it off. Mirko. Damn, I was right, he said as he looked at Izuku. Izuku. Mirko. You still look sexy, he said while holding his helmet. Izuku. Thank you, he said while looking away. Izuku. She's very energetic, she thought as she blushed slightly. Mirko watched and smiled as she stood behind Izuku and placed his helmet back on his head. Mirko. So, how about after we finish this mission, you and I hang out for a while?
Izuku. That sounds good, he said as Mirko smiled and held his shoulders.
Mirko. Damn, these demons are taking hours to get here. Izuku. They'll be here soon, probably any moment. He was interrupted when a portal opened and they both saw it. Mirko. It was about time they arrived, I was getting bored, he said as he jumped off the train car. A group of imps jumped out as Izuku grabbed his shotgun and jumped out of the train car. Izuku. They may not look like much, but don't be fooled, they can kill a human faster than you can blink. Mirko. So I don't have to hold back? Izuku. I never said you had to. Mirko. Oh, this is going to be fun, he said with a smile when the imps saw them and immediately ran towards them. When one of the imps jumped at Mirko, she kicked the imp with her heel in the neck and knocked it to the ground. Mirko. These things may be fast, but faster, he said as he stomped on his neck, crushing and killing him. Izuku just grabbed him by the arm and broke it. As the broken bone protruded from his arm, he shoved his broken elbow into his mouth, driving the broken bone through the back of his neck. Mirko. Damn Izuku. Who knew you were so brutal to them? He said as Izuku pushed the imp aside. Izuku. No mercy is needed when fighting these things, he said as another emo jumped towards Mirko. Izuku pointed his shotgun at Mirko and she ducked, allowing Izuku to blow the imps' heads off. Mirko. Oh my god, no warning? Izuku. I knew you'd avoid it, he said as they noticed more imps attacking. Mirko. Come on, let's kick their asses. Izuku nodded as they both ran towards the imps. Meanwhile, we see Mika and Eri watching cartoons on the couch while Eri was sitting on their lap. Eri. Hi mom. Mika. See Eri? She asked while stroking her head. Eri. Do you think Dad and Grandpa are okay? Mika. They're very strong so I'm sure they will be fine. Eri. Yes, you're right, Dad and Grandpa are the strongest people alive, she said while flexing her arms, pretending to be muscular like her father and grandfather. Mika smiled and continued to pet her head, making Eri giggle as she leaned against Mika. As they both continued watching cartoons, something interrupted their program. News reporter. We interrupt this program to inform you that there is currently a battle underway. We tell you to stay within your lives in these areas. They say these are places that are currently unsafe for civilians to wander around. Mika. Well, I'm sure we won't have to worry. Eri. Yes. We're in space. News reporter. What is that? They ask while she looks to the side. News reporter. Really? It looks like we have live footage of the heroes fighting in a train yard, she says as they go to the filming. See the rabbit hero Mirko running around while kicking demon butt. As Izuku shot the imps all over the place, he even got physical with them, kneeing one of them in the stomach and pulling out his sword, slicing its head clean off. Eri. Mom, look, it's Dad, he said while having a big smile. Mika. I see it Eri, he said while stroking her head. Eri. And look, it's the rabbit hero Mirko. Mika. Is the rabbit hero Eri, she said as Eri looked at her confused. Eri. What's the difference? Mika. I'll tell you later, for now we'll see how this goes. Special. Wrong, he said as they both went back to watching Izuku and Mirko fight the demons. Meanwhile, we return to Izuku and Mirko as they finish killing the last imp. Mirko. Phew, who knew killing demons could be so much fun? He said as Izuku took off his helmet. Izuku. I have to admit, it's quite entertaining, he said looking up and seeing the helicopter. Izuku. How long has he been there? Mirko. I have no idea. Do you think your son is watching? Izuku. Maybe, he said waving at the helicopter. Mirko. What now? She asked approaching him. Izuku. I guess we should head back to Dad and Ryuko's. Mirko. Okay, let's go. As they walked away, a portal opened and they saw someone coming out with some kind of battle axe. Izuku.
Oh shit, he said as he put on his helmet. Mirko. Do you know this guy or something? Izuku. I know what kind of demon they are, they're much tougher than a normal imp. He said as the portal closed. So the son of the killer Doomguy is still breathing, I'm glad I'm the one who takes your life. Izuku. Only in your dreams. He said as Mirko got into a fighting stance. Mirko. It doesn't seem like much. Izuku. Mirko, these kinds of demons need to be taken seriously. He said as Izuku shot the demon. He dodged as he pulled out his shotgun and fired at Izuku and Mirko. Izuku covered Mirko from the bullets and his armor suffered some damage. Izuku. Damn, I forgot how much those projectiles do to my armor. He thought as he looked at the demon. Mirko. I just saw the guy move, what the hell is he? Izuku. He's a lurker. He said letting Mirko go. Mirko. There's more than one. Izuku. Yeah, but we should be able to take care of this. He said to shoot the prowler. The Marauder blocked the bullets with his shield and ran behind Izuku, swinging his axe at him. But Mirko jumped on the prowler and kicked him. The Marauder blocked his kick with the axe and was pushed back a little. Marauder. Looks like you're not alone this time. Mirko. Yes, and we'll send you back to hell, where you belong. He said as Izuku walked beside him. Marauder. Don't be so conceited. He said while pointing his gun at him. But Izuku shot him first, causing the Marauder to block the shot with his shield and run to the side. The prowler realized that Mirko had disappeared and sensed someone was behind him. He turned around and saw Mirko kicking him in the face. Mirko smiled at how the Marauder reacted to her kick, but noticed that he was looking at her. Mirko. Shit, he thought as the prowler grabbed his leg. The prowler slammed her to the ground and threw her against the train car. As he fell to the ground, he tried to get up but winced and fell to the ground, holding his leg in pain.
Mirko. Fuck. He twisted my fucking leg. He thought as he saw the barrel of the Marauder's shotgun in front of his face. Marauder. You and this planet will burn in hell. He said as he was about to shoot him in the face. But Izuku moved the barrel away from his face and the Marauder fired at the train car. Izuku attempted to shoot the prowler in the face with his shotgun, but the prowler knocked it out of his hands and slammed him into the train car. Izuku slammed his fists into the Marauder, forcing him to let go. Izuku grabbed his head and slammed it against the train car. The Marauder was stunned when Izuku threw a punch at him, but he caught Izuku's fist. The Marauder. You have nothing against me, I'm faster and stronger than you. This was the best I could do since the other gifts I tried to use were too big TT. The prowler. Ah, my fucking eye. He screamed in pain as Izuku's sword stabbed his eye. Izuku. You talk too much, he said as he threw a punch at the Marauder's face, causing the sword to cut into his face. The Marauder held his face as he said that Izuku was about to attack him again. The prowler sank under Izuku's blow and threw him onto the tracks. The Marauder. You'll pay for that, he said as he slammed his fist into Izuku's mask, breaking the visor. Izuku tried to use his sword to stab the Marauder, but the Marauder noticed and caught Izuku's fist. The Marauder. I won't fall for that again, he said as he slammed his fist into Izuku's helmet again, breaking the visor of his helmet. Izuku. Shit, he thought as he put his foot on the Marauder's chest and pushed him. The Marauder was about to attack Izuku again, but was shot in the back. The prowler turned around and saw Mirko holding Izuku's shotgun. Mirko. Oh my god, this thing really sticks, he said as he shot at the prowler again. Yes, the Marauder blocked the shot with his shield and lunged at Mirko, knocking the gun out of her hand and grabbing her by the neck. The Marauder bent down and picked up his axe from the ground. The Marauder. You're getting in my way, he said as he placed the sword against his neck. She grabbed the axe by the handle and felt the blade sink into her skin. Mirko. Fuck, he said as he felt the Marauder put more pressure on the axe, making it harder for Mirko to push it in. As Izuku got up, he saw Mirko in trouble and ran towards them. As the Marauder was about to give one last thrust with his axe, Izuku wrapped his arm around his neck and began to strangle him. The prowler let go of Mirko and tried to get Izuku off of him. While the prowler had his back to Mirko, she kicked him in the back of the leg, causing him to fall to his knees. With the advantage given by Mirko, Izuku grabbed the axe the Marauder was holding and put the blade against his neck, pulling with all his strength. The Marauders were pushing the sword and Mirko saw this. She also grabbed the axe and started throwing with Izuku. The Marauder felt the sword getting closer and closer to his skin as it began to dig into his neck, causing pain. The Marauder. "I won't die like this," he said as he pushed himself back, knocking Izuku and Mirko against the train car. They both grunted in pain but didn't let go of the axe. He kept banging them against the train car in an attempt to get them to let go. The one who had the most trouble was Mirko, since she didn't have any armor like Izuku, so her back only felt the hard metal hitting against her back. Izuku and Mirko had enough when the Prowler tried to slam them against the train car again. They took the opportunity to spin him around and slam his face into the train car. They both noticed how stunned he was and took that opportunity to put everything they had into their final pull. "Mirko. Let's finish this right now," he said as he put his foot on the Marauder's back. "Izuku. Right now," he said as he placed his boot against Mirko's back. They both pulled with all their might, screaming in rage as the Marauder felt the sword plunge into his neck. As the Marauder slowly began to die, he saw a train in the distance and had a plan. The Marauder. "If I'm going to die, I'll take you with me," he thought as he stood up and began to walk slowly backwards. Mirko. "How the hell is this guy not dead?" Izuku. "They're demons. They won't die easily," he said as they both listened to the train. They looked to their side and saw the train coming, realizing what the Prowler was planning. But before they could react, the Prowler elbowed Mirko in the stomach, causing her to recoil in shock, and kicked her away. The Prowler leaned back and grabbed Izuku by the helmet and shoved his hand inside his broken visors, throwing him over his shoulder and slamming him into the ground. In doing so, he accidentally knocked off Izuku's helmet and threw it away. The Marauder. "If I die here, I'll take you with me," he said as he grabbed Izuku by the neck and lifted him up, walking towards the train tracks. They could hear the train horn, but the lurker didn't care. Mirko was holding her stomach and saw Izuku being held by the lurker. Mirko. "Shit, come on, you have to go up there and help him," she thought to herself as she stood up. She winced in pain from her twisted ankle, but ignored it and ran toward them. The Marauder. "Once you and your father are gone, this world will burn to the ground with everyone you love," he said that when Izuku saw Mirko running towards them. Izuku. "In your dreams," he said as he drew his sword and Mirko jumped towards them. Izuku cut off the Marauder's hand and Mirko kicked him in the head, knocking him towards the train. As Izuku landed on the ground, he tackled Mirko, who was still in the air, out of the way of the train. As they both fell to the ground, the Prowler crashed into the speeding train. The Marauder. "Damn you," he said as he felt his body about to fall onto the tracks. The Marauder. "Damn you all," he said as his legs were trapped under the train. The Marauder fell under the train and was torn to pieces as Izuku and Mirko watched everything that happened. Mirko and Izuku covered their faces as the Marauders' blood splattered them. Once the train passed by them, they saw what remained of the Marauder. They both breathed heavily as they fell onto their backs, landing side by side. Mirko. "Is it over already?" she asked as she looked at him. Izuku. "Yeah, that was the last of them, for now," he said while looking into the air. Mirko. "Well, that was fun," he said as he noticed the helmet next to his arm. Izuku. "I guess so," he said as he sat down slowly. As he looked at the bloody train track, he felt Mirko touch his shoulder and looked to his side to see her wearing her helmet. Mirko. "You dropped this," he said as Izuku let out a small laugh. Izuku. "Thank you," he said as he took the helmet off her head and placed it on her lap. Mirko. "So, what happens now?" she asked as she sat next to him. Izuku. "Let's wait for my dad and Ryako to come back." Mirko. "Okay then," he said as he stretched his back. Mirko. "A soft bed would be very nice right now," he said as he felt a crack and held his back in pain. Mirko. "Jesus, he broke my back," she said. She fell to the ground. Izuku. "We should probably get you checked out," he said as he slowly stood up and held his helmet. Mirko. "I'm fine, a quick nap should fix me right up,"
he said as he tried to sit up but couldn't. Izuku. Don't lie to yourself, he said as he lifted her into his arms. Mirko. Hey, I can walk alone, she said as she tried to get out of his arms. Izuku. No, you can't even sit down, he said as he began to walk away with Mirko in his arms. Mirko. She had a small blush on her face, feeling embarrassed at being carried like that. Izuku noticed and stopped walking. Mirko. Why did you stop? She asked looking at Izuku who lifted her onto his back. Izuku. Is this better? He asked, looking over his shoulder. Mirko. He said as he leaned his head on her shoulder. Izuku. Go ahead and rest, I'll take you to the hospital, he said as he started walking again. Mirko. It's okay, he said as he nuzzled his face into her neck. Mirko. Thanks, Izuku, he said closing his eyes. Izuku. De nada Mirko, he said as he looked ahead and continued walking away from the train yard. Meanwhile, we see Doomguy and Ryako standing next to a group of dead demons. Ryako. Was that the last one? He asked as he transformed back into his human form. Doomguy. Yeah, that's all of them, he said as they both began to leave the area. Ryako. That was pretty easy. Doomguy. We were lucky, these were the weakest, he said as he started calling Izuku. Ryako. I see, do you think Izuku and Mirko took care of the other demons as easily as we did? Doomguy. I'm sure they had no problem, he said as Izuku answered the call. Doomguy. Izuku, how did it go? He asked while standing and looking surprised. Doomguy. A prowler showed up. Are you two okay? Izuku. I'm fine, but Mirko isn't in the best shape, so I'll take her to the hospital. Doomguy. All right, we killed what was left so we'll see you soon. Izuku. Okay, bye Dad, he said as he ended the call. Doomguy. A Marauder. They're starting to send stronger ones. Ryako. Are you okay? She asked the boy of Doom who looked at her. Doomguy. They're fine, but Izuku's taking your friend to the hospital. Ryako. What hospital? She asked while looking worried. Doomguy. Well, the nearest hospital to the train yard, a few miles north, he said pointing north. Ryako. Okay, I'll head over there now, it was nice meeting you, he said as he turned into his dragon form. Doomguy. Agwal. She said as she flew away. Izuku. Now, I'm going to take a nap, he said as he began to prepare a portal. Meanwhile, we see Izuku leaving the hospital. He was no longer in his armor and couldn't wait another second to get home and relax. Izuku. Okay, I just have to wait for Dad to send me a portal and I'll be home free, he said while yawning. While he was waiting, he saw a dragon flying towards him and landed in front of him. Izuku realized who it was inside as he saw Ryako take her human form and run towards him. Ryako. Where's Mirko? Is she okay? She asked Izuku who looked tired. Izuku. She's fine, she just needs to stay in bed for a while, he said as Ryako sighed in relief. Ryako. Thank goodness, if you and your dad weren't here, I don't know if we would have fought them so easily. Izuku. Yes, he said as they both stood there. It was awkward seeing each other again after so long, they didn't know what to say to each other now and were just silent. Ryako. So, how have you been? He asked, trying to make the situation less awkward. Izuku. I've been doing well, he said, sliding his hands into his pockets. Ryako. That's good, very good, he said, crossing his arms. Everything went silent again and they both didn't know what to do. Until Izuku broke the silence. Izuku. Eri wonders when you'll visit again. Ryako. Does she do it? Izuku. Yeah, I told him early on, but I'm starting to think it'll never happen. Ryako. Mira, she said looking at him. Ryako. Come on, tell him, she thought as she tried to tell him how much she missed him. Ryako. I want, Mirko. Hello Izuku. But she was interrupted by her best friend. Izuku. Mirko, he said turning around and watching her walk towards him on crutches. Izuku. What are you doing out of bed? Mirko. If you know me, I don't like sitting in bed doing nothing, If I need to relax I do it my way. She said looking at him. Izuku. Well, I don't think I can stop you. Mirko. No, he said as he noticed Ryako standing behind Izuku. Mirko. Hello girl, when did you get here? Ryako. Not long ago. She said feeling annoyed at being interrupted. Mirko. Oh, okay, anyway, when did you say we could hang out again, Izuku? She asked while Ryako looked a little surprised. Izuku. This weekend. Mirko. Good, thanks for reminding me. Izuku. Do you need my help to get home? Mirko. No, I have it. He said as he started to walk away but tripped and almost fell. Izuku grabbed her by the waist and she winced in pain. Mirko. Fuck, she said as she put her forehead against his chest. Izuku. Are you okay? He asked as he pulled her to her feet. Mirko. I'm fine, you just grabbed me a little too hard, that's all. Izuku. Oh, sorry. He said it feeling guilty. Mirko. It's okay, big guy, you just saved me from falling face down. He said as he placed his hand on his chest. Mirko. But I think I might need a little help getting home. Izuku. Okay then, he said as they both started to leave. Izuku faced Ryako who was watching them leave. Izuku. See you next time, whenever that is. He said as he looked back at Mirko and started walking beside him. When they both left, Ryako was now alone, watching them from a distance. Ryako. Goodbye, he said in a low voice as he began walking back home with a slight frown on his face. Ryako. Damn, I could have told her but she got in the way. He said as he crossed his arms and walked out of the hospital. Mirko looked back and saw Ryako walking away. Mirko. I know what you did to Izuku. I won't let you hurt him like that again, not while I'm around. He thought as he looked at Izuku with a smile. Flashback. We see Mirko lying in a hospital bed, resting her arms behind her head while Izuku sat in a chair next to her. They saw the door open and saw the doctor come in. Mirko. How do you look, doctor? Doctor. You have some damage to your spine but it's nothing a little rest can't cure. Izuku. So it'll be okay. Doctor. Yeah, he just needs to take a break from doing any hero work for a while. Mirko. Aw man, Izuku. Okay, is that all? Doctor. Yes, apart from some bruises and cuts, they both seem to be fine. Izuku. Okay, thanks. He said as the doctor nodded and left the room. Mirko. This sucks, now I have to sit around and do nothing. Izuku. You'll get better soon. He said looking out the window. Mirko. Maybe, he said as he looked up at the ceiling. Mirko. Can I ask you something? She asked looking at him. Izuku. It depends, what do you want to know? Mirko. May I ask why you and Ryako broke up? She never told me why. She asked as she sat down slowly. Izuku. I don't know if I should tell you. Mirko. Come on, I won't judge you. She said and Izuku sighed. Izuku. Remember when I fought you and the other heroes? Mirko. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you broke some bones that day. Izuku. Sorry, anyway, remember when I killed Endeavor? Mirko. I'm pretty sure almost everyone was glad you killed him. Well, when they found out what he did, of course. Izuku. Yeah, Ryako didn't like being with someone who killed a hero, so she decided to end it. Mirko. Even after finding out what the guy did. Izuku. I don't blame her. Mirko. Well, sorry to hear that. Izuku. It's okay, I'm over it. Mirko. Still, didn't it hurt? Izuku. She did, but I'm over it, we haven't talked since then, so seeing her now is. Mirko. Uncomfortable. Izuku. Yes, he said looking down a little. Mirko. Hey, remember when you said we could hang out sometime? Izuku. Yes, Mirko. Well, how about just you and I go watch a movie at my house? Izuku. He hummed as he thought for a moment. Mirko. Well, Izuku. That sounds good. Mirko. Great, when should we go? Izuku. This weekend. Mirko. Perfect, he said while Izuku was still looking down. Mirko. Come here, she said as Izuku looked at her confused. Izuku. What, Mirko? Come here, she said while looking angry. Izuku walked over to her and she sat him down. Mirko. You said you got over it, right? Izuku. Yes. Mirko. Well, it doesn't look like it. He said while holding her face. Mirko. You said you were over it and yet you still seem like it's your fault she left you. Izuku. Huro yo. Mirko. I'm not done. Izuku. Mirko. She left you because you killed a bad guy. She left and it was her decision, so stop blaming yourself for something that happened a long time ago. He said, squeezing her face. Mirko. People break up, and it hurts at first, but you have to get over it and start focusing on the people you still have. Like you, Eri girl, she still loves you and knows you've killed people, and yet she still loves you like you're her father. He said as he pulled him closer. Mirko. So stop blaming yourself for what happened to you and Ryako and start taking care of the ones you still have. To understand, Izuku. SC, he said as she stood right in front of his face. Mirko. Good, he said as he let go of her face. Mirko. Now go back to your daughter and show her how much you love her. He said pointing to the door. Izuku. Okay, he said as he got out of bed and walked out the door. Mirko sighed as he lay back, a contented smile on his face. Mirko. Maybe he won't walk around with that depressed look now. He said as he looked out the window. While he was there, he saw someone in the distance flying through the air towards the hospital. Mirko. Oh, it's Ryako, I guess she and Izuku's father took care of the other demons. He said as he looked up at the ceiling. As she closed her eyes, she began to recall the conversation between her and Izuku about his relationship with Ryako and realized something. Mirko. Oh shit. End of flashback. Mirko. No one will hurt him like that again, not while I'm around. He thought as they arrived at his house. Mirko. All right, thanks for walking me home. Izuku. He hummed as he wondered what Ryako was going to say to him. Mirko noticed him thoughtful and approached him. Mirko. Hey, remember. He said while holding his shoulder. Mirko. That's a thing of the past now, don't blame yourself anymore, okay? Izuku. Okay, she said as she let go of his shoulder and opened the door. Mirko. See you this weekend. Izuku. Also, she said as she smiled at him and walked into her house. As the door closed, Izuku started walking away with a small smile. Izuku. She's nice, he thought as a portal opened next to him and he walked towards it. Meanwhile, Eri and Mika were in the living room while Doomguy was just doing his thing. Suddenly, a portal opened and they saw Izuku walk out of it, still wearing his armor. Eri. Dad's back, he said jumping off the couch and running towards Izuku. Izuku. Hello, darling. He said, getting on his knees and lowering his helmet. She hugged him tightly as Izuku hugged her back. Eri. You looked so cool on TV. Izuku. I'm glad you liked it. He said kissing her on the forehead and making her laugh. Mika. You were amazing. She said approaching him. Izuku. Thank you. He said standing up with Eri in his arms. Mika. You gave us a scare when that thing pushed you in front of the train. She said, hugging him. Izuku. Sorry about that. He said, hugging her with one arm and kissing her on the cheek. Mika. It's okay, you're here now. He said as he kissed her on the lips. Izuku smiled a little as he kissed her back. Izuku put Eri down and let go of Mika. Izuku. Hey dad, that Marauder broke my helmet visor. Boy of Doom. Fuck, really? Izuku. Yes, he said as he gave the helmet to the Boy of Destiny. Doomguy. Damn it, I'll fix it. He said as he took the helmet to go fix it. Izuku. I'm going to bed. He said as he started walking towards his room. Eri. Wait for me, Dad. She said running after him. Mika follows them with a smile, happy to see that Izuku is okay, and Eri was very happy to see Izuku again. Izuku was also happy to see them both, but he felt like he could fall asleep at any moment. Time skip. Izuku was in bed with Eri and Mika hugging him. Everyone was asleep. Eri was sleeping on Izuku's chest and Mika was hugging his side with Izuku's arms around them. But Izuku was still standing, staring at the ceiling. I was thinking about everything that had happened today, seeing Ryako, fighting a lurker with Mirko, and her telling him to stop blaming himself for Ryako breaking up with him. He looked at Mika and Eri, remembering what Mirko said. Mirko, now stop blaming yourself for what happened to you and Ryako and start taking care of the ones you still have, do you understand? He thought about what she said and smiled a little. Izuku. Thanks Mirko, he thought as he stroked their heads and went back to sleep. It was noon and Izuku was spending family time with Eri and they were just watching TV. But as it was, the boy of doom approached Izuku and touched his shoulder. Izuku. What's wrong, Dad? He asked, looking over his shoulder. Doomguy. Come with me, I have a gift for you. He said as he walked away. Izuku. A present, but it's not my birthday. Eri. Maybe it's an early birthday present. She said, excited to see what her dad's gift would be. Izuku. Do you want to come with me to see what it is? He asked as he stood up. Eri. Can I? She said as she jumped from the couch into his arms. Izuku. He said as he caught her and held her. Eri. Come on, Dad. She said and Izuku started following the boy of doom. Doomguy. Now Izuku, it's time for me to tell you something I should have told you a long time ago. He said. They were now in the condemned boy's room. Izuku. What's wrong, Dad? He asked as he and Eri tilted their heads. Doomguy. Something dangerous is coming, something big, something that can destroy worlds. He said as Eri got nervous and Izuku started petting her head to comfort her. Izuku. We'll be able to take him down, Dad. Doomguy. I know, but just to be safe, I made something for you that will definitely help bring this thing down. He said as they approached a curtain and the Doomguy moved the curtain to reveal a certain large weapon on display. Doomguy. I call him the BFG. Izuku. It's huge, Dad. What does BFG mean? Doomguy. Grande. He realized that Eri was listening. Doomguy. A huge, cursed weapon. He said and Izuku put Eri on the Doom Boy's bed. Doomguy. I made this just for you, in case you ever need to use it. He said as he took it out of the display and gave it to Izuku. Izuku. Damn, it's heavy. He said as he almost dropped it but gradually managed to get a better grip on it. Doomguy. I got it from a machine, so, it's pretty heavy. He said while having his arms crossed. Doomguy. Go get your armor, let's test this. He said as Izuku nodded and left the BFG on the bed. Eri. Wow, that looks so cool, Grandpa. He said as he touched the gun. Doomguy. Yeah, but it's too big for you to hold, so I decided to give you something your own size. He said and Eri looked at her grandfather with stars in her eyes. Eri. Do I get a gun too? She asked while jumping with excitement. Doomguy. Yeah, it might not be as powerful as the BFG, but it's still a pretty good weapon. He said as he picked up a pistol that was also on display. Doomguy. Here, Eri, this is the perfect weapon for you. He said as he handed the gun to Eri. Eri. Wow, Grandpa. Thank you so much. He said while holding the handle of the gun with both hands. Eri. It's quite heavy. Doomguy. Well, you've never held a gun. That's why I'm going to teach you how to shoot a gun. Eri. En serio? She asked looking at her doomy grandfather. Doomguy. I even made you your own armor. Eri. You did it. She screamed with pure joy as her smile grew wider. Doomguy nodded as he pulled the curtain back further and showed Eri the armor Doomguy had made for her. Eri. He looks so much like Dad. He said as he walked up to the armor and looked at it with a big smile. Izuku. Dad, can I talk to you in private? Doomguy. Claro Izuku. He said as Doomguy followed Izuku out of the room and left Eri alone in the room. Once they left the room, Izuku stopped as he faced the boy of doom with his arms crossed. Izuku. Dad, I'm not sure Eri should learn to kill demons like us. Doomguy. What, why? He asked as Izuku leaned against the wall. Izuku. Dad, he's 7 years old, he should be playing with toys, watching cartoons, not risking his life to protect the earth. Doomguy. I understand where you're coming from, Izuku. He said as he leaned against the wall next to Izuku. Doomguy. But think about it, the demons are coming more often, Soon they'll think of an all-out attack and no one will be safe. He said as they both looked down. Doomguy. I care about Eri, I want her to be able to protect herself. We won't always be there to save her, so to make sure she's safe, she needs to know how to kill demons like us. Izuku. I know, but I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Doomguy. That's what you thought when we went on your first mission, and look at you now. He said while holding Izuku's shoulder. Doomguy. Now you can protect yourself, and to make sure Eri's safe, we have to teach her too. He said as Izuku sighed, looked down, and closed his eyes. Doomguy. It's for your own good, Izuku. Izuku. It's okay, but be careful with her, she's only 7 years old. Doomguy nodded as Izuku went to put on his armor and Doomguy returned to his room. As he did so, he noticed Eri, who was wearing the armor. Eri. Look, Grandpa. He said with his helmet on. Eri. It fits me perfectly. She said as the Doom boy smiled a little and stroked her helmet. Doomguy. It looks great on you, Eri. He said and Eri laughed. Time skip. The three of them were now in a much more secluded area, a large field in the middle of the forest. In the middle there were dummies for shooting practice and an abandoned building in the distance. Doomguy. Okay, Izuku, go ahead and see how powerful the BFG is. He said as he picked up Eri and walked some distance away from Izuku. Izuku raised the BFG and pulled the trigger, noticing the BFG glow as Eri watched in amazement. Doomguy. Shoot those fools over there. Izuku said and aimed at the mannequins, then fired towards the building. As the dolls exploded into a million pieces, Eri screamed in excitement as the BFG's glow slowly faded. Doomguy. It's very powerful for eliminating multiple enemies, but you should save it because it takes a long time to recharge. He said as Izuku approached him. Izuku. Okay, thanks for this, Dad. Doomguy. Danada Izuku. He said as he patted him on the shoulder. Eri. Dad, that was amazing. He said while having a big smile on his face. Izuku. Yeah, it was pretty cool. He said as he put the BFG back into his inventory and patted his helmet. Doomguy. Now that Izuku knows how to use the BFG, it's your turn to learn. He said as Eri looked at the boy of Doom with excitement. Eri. Yes, I can't wait, Grandpa. He said as Izuku and Doomguy held his hands. Doomguy. Let's go to that building, that's where your training will begin. Eri. Okay, let's go. He said as Izuku received a call. Izuku. Oh, go ahead, take her to the training area, Dad. He said as he let go of Eri's hand. Doomguy. Okay, let's go, Eri. He said as he and Eri walked out towards the building. Time skip. Doomguy. Okay Eri, before we start I want to see how good your aim is. He said as Eri held a gun. Doomguy. Now do you see that doll over there? He asked and pointed to the dolls that were quite close. Eri. Yeah, they look like the ones Dad blew up. Doomguy. Yeah, now go shoot one of them. Eri nodded and pointed the gun at the doll. As she struggled to pull the trigger, the gun fired, catching her by surprise. The bullet barely missed the mannequin, but only cut its shoulder. The gun flew from her hands as the kickback knocked her onto her back. Doomguy. Not bad for your first time. He said as he helped Eri up. Eri. But I got lost. She said feeling a little depressed. Doomguy. You grazed the fool's shoulder, a hit is a hit and it's a good start. He said, stroking the top of his helmet. Doomguy. Now, to be able to take the hit from any weapon, we'll have to get you in shape. Eri. Did Dad train like this when I was my age? Will I be as strong as him? She asked looking at him excitedly. Doomguy. He was a little older than you, but I'm sure you'll be even stronger than your father. He said and Eri smiled even more under her helmet. Doomguy. Now, give me 25 push-ups. He said and Eri nodded, getting on the floor as she started doing her push-ups. Doomguy. You may be younger, but that doesn't mean I'll be any easier on you. I'll push you to your limits until you have no limits at all. Eri. Yes, Grandpa. She said the boy of Doom decided to join her in the push-ups. Meanwhile, Izuku arrived at UA to see his class fighting demons that came through a portal. Jirou. Oh, hello Izu. She said as a demon corpse flew over her and landed on the ground. Izuku. You know, I would have come here faster if you had told me there were demons here. Jirou. I wanted it to be a surprise. She said as Izuku approached her. Izuku. When did you get here? Jirou. Just a few minutes ago. He said as he fired shockwaves towards the demons. Izuku pulled out his sawed-off shotgun and fired at the demons, killing them as he charged into the fight. Momo. I'm glad you finally arrived, things were getting more violent. He said as two demons ran towards them. Jirou sent shockwaves towards the demons and stunned them while Momo made two weapons for herself and Jirou. Jirou took it and they both ran towards the demons. Jirou slammed her weapon into a demon's knee, breaking it, while Momo hit the other demon on the head with it, making the demons fall to the ground while she and Jirou began beating the demons. Meanwhile, Eri was shooting at targets with her grandfather and surprisingly learned quickly as she hit some targets fairly easily, but the recoil still messed her up. Doomguy. You're doing a good job, Eri. For your first time, you're learning pretty fast. It took your dad a lot longer to get the hang of it. Eri. Does that mean I can fight demons with dad now? He asked with a big smile behind his helmet. Doomguy. Whoa, Eri, let's not get ahead of ourselves now. Eri. What? But you said I was doing well. Doomguy. You're Eri, it's just, you're a little too young. Eri. But I'm only 7 years old. He said as he looked down and played with his gun. Doomguy. How about this? He said as he knelt in front of her. Doomguy. I'll ask your dad and see what he thinks. If he says you can, then you can go with him on his travels. Eri. En serio. He said he immediately felt better. Doomguy. But if you're thinking about killing demons with your dad then. He stood up and pressed a button on the wall. Doomguy. Then you'll have to kill a demon. He said, and a wall opened and Doomguy dragged two tied imps out and they were wandering around once they saw Doomguy and Eri. Eri. Why are you tied up? She asked because she was a little scared. Doomguy. If I had them tied up, they'd try to kill us. He said and moved the mannequins, putting the elves in their place. Doomguy. Okay, Eri, if you want to help your father kill demons, then you'll have to kill your first demon. He said and took out a gun that was more modified than Eri's gun. Doomguy. Imps are the weakest of the demons, but don't underestimate them. They're fast and their claws can tear through your flesh. They're more dangerous together, so it's best to eliminate them from a distance. He said and pointed his gun at a devil. Doomguy. And don't think twice before shooting, they won't. He said and shot the emo straight between the eyes and he went limp. Doomguy. See, it's pretty easy when they're tied up. He said and put away his gun. Doomguy. Now it's your turn, Eri. He said as Eri stared at the imp. Eri. You Doomguy. What's up Eri? Eri. Do I have to? She asked as the boy of Doom looked at her in confusion. Doomguy. What do you mean? Eri. Well, what if not all demons are bad? Maybe we can help them change and become good guys. He said looking at the demon with hope. Doomguy. Eri. He knelt in front of her and held her shoulders. Doomguy. Demons don't care what happens to others. They can't feel remorse, guilt, or even joy. They're just monsters who kill for the sake of killing. Eri. But, Doomguy. Eri, if we don't kill demons, other people will suffer the consequences and innocent people will die. He said and Eri looked down. Doomguy. I understand you want to see the good in everyone, but understand that demons don't care. Now to protect the world from these creatures. He took Eri's hands and pointed his gun at the demon. Doomguy. You have to kill the demon. He said and went after her. Eri trembled a little as she looked down the gun's sight. The Doom boy noticed that Eri was scared and held her shoulders to calm her down. Doomguy. Trust me, Eri, you're doing the world a good deed. Eri. Sigh, I can do this, he said as he aimed at the demon and closed his eyes, pulling the trigger as the boy of Doom saw the bullet hit the devil's body. Doomguy. Nice shot, Eri. He said and realized that she had her eyes closed. Doomguy. Eri, you know you have to keep your eyes open, right? Eri. SC, he said and opened his eyes to hit the devil. Eri. Why didn't he die? Doomguy. Sometimes you need a headshot, or a complete dismemberment. He said and took out his gun and shot the devil in the head. Doomguy. Don't worry, Eri. You'll be able to kill demons on your own soon. But for now, we have to train you and teach you everything we know. Are you sure you're ready for this? It'll be very hard and brutal. I don't want to force you to do this if you don't want to. Eri. I understand, Grandpa, but I really want to do this. I can help you and Dad protect the world, she said, and the Doom Boy chuckled, patting her helmet. Doomguy. Okay, but let's take a break to get something to eat. I'm sure you're hungry. Eri. Starvation, he said and rubbed his stomach. Doomguy. I bet you do. Wanna go to McDonald's? I can't cook. Eri. Yes, that sounds delicious, she said, and they both left the building to go eat. Time skip. Eri and Doomguy were sitting on a rooftop, eating their lunch when they saw an explosion in the distance. Eri. What was that, Grandpa? She asked as she bit into her burger. Doomguy. Izuku's probably dealing with some demons. Eri. Oh, she said, and they both sat watching the explosions coming from Ua. Eri. Shouldn't you be helping them, Grandpa? Doomguy. No, I'm sure Izuku has this. He said and took a sip of his soda. Eri. It's okay, she said and stared at her grandfather. Eri. Grandpa, can I ask you something? He asked as he looked at his burger. Doomguy. Of course, what is? Eri. How do you do it? She asked, looking at him. Eri. How can you fight demons and not be afraid at all? Doomguy. For being angry. Eri. Be angry. Doomguy. Crazy, angry, full of rage. Eri. But how does that help, Grandpa? Doomguy. My anger is stronger than any other emotion. The angrier I am, the more deadly I am. Different. Doomguy. I'm too angry to be afraid. Different. Ooh, she said it, and the fatal boy chuckled. Doomguy. Everyone has their own way of dealing with fear. For me, it's using my rage. Eri. Oh, how does Dad deal with fear? Doomguy. Well, actually, he uses that fear as fuel to keep fighting. Eri. Wow, can you do that? Doomguy. His fear of losing those he loves is what drives him to keep fighting demons. Eri. That's so cool. I wish I could do that. It was so scary when I shot the demon at the training ground. Doomguy. Eri, you don't have to rush into this. You'll eventually be able to fight by our side someday, maybe when you're older, but for now, training you and teaching you how to use a weapon is our first priority. Eri. I'll make you and Dad proud, he said and bit into his burger. Doomguy. You already do it, Eri, he said and stroked her head, making her smile as she continued eating with her grandfather. While there, they saw a huge green explosion in the distance. Eri. Wow, did you see that, Grandpa? It was huge. Doomguy. I made Eri. I guess she used the BFG. Eri. The name is funny. Doomguy. Yeah, it's pretty funny, he said and stood up. Doomguy. All right, do you want to go home or check on your dad? He asked as Eri finished her food. Eri. I want to go see Dad, he said and jumped to his feet. Doomguy. Okay, but let's clean this mess up first, he said, and Eri nodded as they started cleaning. Meanwhile, Izuku was holding the BFG that had just fired a huge explosion. Mina. Izuku, where did you get that? Izuku. I have my ways, he said and put it away. Kiri. Wow dude, that was amazing. Denki. Yeah, it was great. Abara. But I don't understand how you were able to get such a powerful weapon. Izuku. It was a gift from my dad, he said as everyone looked at the corpses of the demons that were blown to pieces. Zero. So, how are we going to clean this up? Izuku. I'm sure you'll figure it out, he said as he walked backwards away from them. Jirou. Hey, wait. Do you want us to clean all this up? Hagakure. You were part of this too. Izuku. Sorry, I can't hear you, the helmet makes it hard for me to hear, he said as he walked even further away. Katsuki. This is crap and you know it. He yelled and Izuku just gave him the middle finger and walked away backwards. All. Izuku, why? They screamed because they didn't want to clean up that mess. As they groaned and began to collect the corpses, Doomguy appeared as he jumped from a building and caught Eri, who laughed as Doomguy pulled her down. Jirou. Mr. Doom, what are you doing here? She asked as she threw an arm to the side. Doomguy. I came here to see what was going on. Is Izuku here? Mina. No sir, he left once we killed the last of the demons. Kaminari. Yeah, he left us to clean up this mess, he said as he slipped on the blood and fell on his back. Kaminari. No mi Chikada, he shouted, standing up as some of his classmates began to laugh at his clumsiness. As they laughed, Jirou felt someone hug her from the side and looked down to see Eri. Jirou. Oh, who is this little one? She asked, stroking the top of her helmet. Eri. He, Mom, it's me, he said and took off his helmet. Eri. And I'm not a boy and a girl, she said and Jirou gasped. Jirou. Eri, how did you get such a cool armor? She asked, pretending to be excited as she bent down towards her. Eri. My grandpa gave it to me. It looks great, she said and Jirou took the helmet and looked inside. Jirou. It's a little difficult to put on. Eri. That's because your head is too big, Mom, she said and Jirou took off her helmet. Jirou. I guess so. Cold sweat smile, he said and put the helmet back on Eri's head. Jirou. Anyway, Izuku just left, he went that way, so I think you can catch up with him. Doomguy. Okay, thanks, he said and took Eri's hand. Eri. Bye Mom, he said that and left with the boy of perdition. Jirou. Bye darling, he said and waved to her as they left. Jirou. What the hell was Izuku thinking? He wondered and rubbed his forehead. As she did so, Momo cleared her throat and Jirou turned around to see her friends looking at her in surprise. Jirou. What, Momo? Jirou, he said and took her by the shoulders. Momo. Are you everyone? A mom, Mina. Who's the daddy? Hagakuri. What is it? Jirou. I can explain, she said with a small blush as they wanted to know everything. Meanwhile, Izuku was in the abandoned warehouse wondering where his doomed boy and Eri were, only to see them arrive. Eri. Dad, she said and ran towards him, hugging him while Izuku hugged her back. Izuku. Hi honey, how did it go with Dad? Eri. It was so much fun. But my body hurts. Doomguy. That's what happens when you try to do 100 push-ups, huh? Eri. I thought I could do it, she said pouting and crossing her arms. Izuku. Well, I think that's enough training for today, he said and picked up Eri. Izuku. But since there are classes tomorrow, I have to return to Ua. Eri. Ah, do you have to? Izuku. I will, darling, he said and handed it to the boy of perdition. Izuku. See you next weekend. Eri. It's okay, Dad, he said and watched as his dad started back to the UA. The guy of Doom realized that she was upset and put her down. Doomguy. Don't worry, Eri. He'll be back, and until he does, you and I are going to have some family ties, he said and stroked his helmet. Doomguy. What do you think of SpongeBob and pancakes? Eri. But we can't eat pancakes. It's not morning. Doomguy. I'm midnight cereal, all right. Eri. Well, in that case, let's do it, she said and the boy of Doom smiled a little and opened a portal and took her hand. Doomguy. A SpongeBob movie or a cartoon? Different. Movie, she said and they walked through the portal. Time skip. Izuku simply put away his armor and sat down on the bed, feeling a little tired. Izuku. Today I felt more exhausted than usual, he said and rubbed his face. Jirou. I think I know why, she said and Izuku looked at her to see her standing with her arms crossed. And she didn't look happy. Jirou. What the hell is Eri doing in that armor? Izuku. It was a gift from Dad. Jirou. And you let him keep it? Izuku. What's wrong with that? Dad's teaching her how to use it, and she's learning how to shoot a gun, so it'll be fine. Jirou. She's what? She screamed and Izuku was surprised, he didn't know she could scream that loud. Jirou. Izuku can't do these things. Izuku. Why? Jirou. Izuku, he's only 7 years old. Izuku. It's okay Jirou. He said and stood up, taking her by the shoulders and kissing her on the forehead. Izuku. She's being trained by a professional, she'll be fine. Jirou. But she's too young to be Izuku. She can't be learning these things so soon. Izuku. I know, but it's for his own good, he needs to know how to defend himself. Jirou. She doesn't need Izuku, she has us. She said, grabbing his forearm and looking at him worriedly. Izuku. Kiyoka, he said and held her cheek. Izuku. With what I'm doing, there might come a day when I never come back. I won't be able to protect her forever. I don't want her to be defenseless when the time comes. Jirou. Don't say that, Izuku. She said, not wanting to hear any of it. Jirou. I just don't want him to grow up so fast. She said and took his hand that was holding her cheek. Izuku. I know, but trust me, everything will be okay. He said and hugged her. Jirou. Can I sleep with you tonight? She asked with her head on his shoulder as she hugged him back. Izuku. You don't need to ask Kiyoka. He said and kissed her on the cheek, lifting her up as he sat her down on the bed and sat down. Jirou watched as he stretched his back and couldn't help but hug him from behind. Izuku gave a small smile as he took off his shirt and lay down, pulling Kiyoka towards him as she covered them with the blanket. Izuku. I know you have good intentions for Eri, but it's for her own good, I want her to have a good future. Jirou. I know, I just don't want him to grow up so fast. She said and rested her head on his chest. Izuku. Me neither, but she needs to learn, for her own good. He said and kissed Jirou's head. Jirou. I hope so. She said and kissed his cheek. They both hugged and hugged tightly, wondering if it was a good idea to let Eri train with Doomguy. They weren't sure if they were right or not, but one thing was for sure, they would do anything for Eri, and that was facts cool. Jirou. Noche Izuku. Izuku. Good night Kiyoka. He said and they both kissed on the lips before going to sleep together. Izuku had just gotten home from school, he felt like it had been a long time since he came home since Eri is always at Doomguy's house. But he liked being back, the silence felt refreshing and once he closed the door, he went to the couch and sat down with a sigh. Izuku. Eri's staying on Dad's boat, the girls are going out for a girls' night, it gives me some time to myself. He closed his eyes and felt a wave of peace wash over him. Since he met Eri, his life had been quite active. He loved her, but he also needed some time alone. Izuku. He hummed and felt himself slowly drift off to sleep, that is until Izuku's phone started ringing, waking him from his sleep and making him sigh, trying to keep his frustration under control. He looked at the phone and saw that it was his father, the terrible boy. Izuku. Why are you calling me Dad? Oh, crap, Eri. He quickly answered the call. Izuku. Dad, what happened? Is Eri okay? Doomguy. She's fine, one of your friends picked her up and said they'd take her shopping. Izuku. Oh, thank God, who was it? Doomguy. The girl with vines for hair. Izuku. Abara. Doomguy. Yeah, anyway, since Eri's with your friends, I think it's time we both spent some time together. Izuku. How? Doomguy. I don't know, but we haven't spent much time together. Izuku. Well, what do you have in mind? Doomguy. Well, we could go to hell and kill demons like we used to. Izuku. Sorry, I'm not in the mood for that right now. Doomguy. Well, fuck. I have nothing. Izuku. Me neither. Doomguy. What do normal people do? Izuku. I don't know, I never had a father back then. Doomguy. We need to get more. Izuku. Yes. While they were both thinking about what to do, Izuku heard some crazy music coming from the TV. TV. Hey, are you bored or trying to find some way to pass your time? Then come to the fall carnival. We have games and rides on social media. We're not like those boring carnivals, we were much better. Izuku. Did you hear that too? Doomguy. I did it, I think we have an idea of where we're going. Izuku. Yeah, see you there. Doomguy. I'll do it. He said and they ended the call. Izuku. Well, maybe a little father-son bonding sounds good. He smiled a little because they had both spent a lot of time together back then. It felt good to do this again. 2 hours later, Izuku was waiting for the Boy of Doom at the entrance. Izuku. Sigh, why is it taking so long? He thought and heard a commotion. He looked towards the noise and remained silent. Izuku. What? He saw Doomguy wearing his helmet and walking towards Izuku. His shirt seemed to barely hold together while his muscles looked like they were going to burst at any moment. The shirt also seemed a little torn. Doomguy. Izuku. What the fuck, Dad? Doomguy. They didn't have anything my size. Izuku. At least put on a jacket. Doomguy. Jackets are for cowards. Izuku. And we wear a damn armor. Doomguy. Because we look really good in it. Izuku. Good point. Doomguy. Now, are we going to talk about my outfit or are we going inside? Izuku. Okay, let's go. He said and they both entered. Worker. Excuse me, you guys can't just. Then they both stared at the worker. Izuku's eyes glowed a little under the shadow of his hair while the worker could see a red flash shine a little in the glass of the Doom Boy's helmet. Worker. And never mind. I hope you enjoy your day here. He said with a nervous laugh and they both continued walking. Once they left, they worked simply by breathing heavily and holding their chest. Worker. I need to move. Why am I still working here? This job doesn't even pay me enough. Back with the Bois Doom. Izuku and Doomguy were looking around, seeing everyone having a lot of fun and running to play all the games. Doomguy. This is a new experience. Izuku. Yeah, it's weird to see so many people here. Doomguy. Well, what should we start with first? Izuku. He hummed and looked around, seeing all the games and rides they could play and ride, but he saw one that caught his eye. Doomguy. What are you looking at? Doomguy looked at what Izuku was looking at and also fell silent. Boy of Doom. It was a game where you shot water into a cutout's mouth, then watched a kid fill a balloon with water and it would pop over the cutout's head, making it look like its head had exploded. Doomguy. Izuku. We have to play it. Doomguy. Yeah. They said and ran towards the game, ignoring the few people watching them as they ran past. Hours later, after hours and hours of playing carnival games, they were both satisfied because they had won a lot of prizes. People watched in amazement at the mountains of awards they both had. Izuku. I think we have enough prizes for today. Doomguy. I agree, let's go. But as they both walked, the Boy of Perdition stopped when he saw something that definitely caught his attention. Izuku noticed his father's attention was caught and looked to see what had caught the Fate Boy's attention. Then he saw it, a giant rabbit that was nibbling at his food. A size comparison for you all. Izuku was surprised to see such a giant rabbit, wondering how something like that could exist. But the Fatal Boy didn't question anything as he dropped all his prizes and headed towards the giant rabbit. Izuku. See you later. He said and left. He didn't want to upset the Boy of Doom since he knew his love for rabbits. Doomguy walked up to the giant cage and held it up, looking down at the giant rabbit that was looking down at Doomguy. Rabbit owner. Do you like it? The guy asked the Boy of Doom, who nodded, still looking at the bunny. Bunny owner. Well, you can keep her. I can't keep her because I don't have a place big enough for her. Doomguy. How much? He asked, already about to buy the bunny for a price. Rabbit owner. You can't buy her, you have to earn her. Doomguy. What do you mean? Rabbit owner. To get it, you have to win all the carnival games. Doomguy. I've already defeated half of them. Rabbit owner. I know. He looked behind Doomguy to see the mountain of prizes Doomguy had won. Rabbit owner. Just win the rest and bring me all the prizes. Doomguy. Okay. He looked at the bunny one more time before taking his treats and throwing them in front of the bunny's owner. Rabbit owner. Wow, you've been pretty busy. Doomguy. My son and I came to spend time together, I think he went home. Rabbit owner. Well, hurry up and get the other prizes before the carnival closes. I can't be here when the carnival closes, or I'll get arrested for trespassing. The Doom Boy nodded and ran off to play the other games. Bunny owner. Ooh, a yo-yo. He picked up a yo-yo from the mountain of prizes. 2 hours later, the Doom guy had been playing a bunch of games for hours and was pretty close to finishing it. The only game he had left was the infamous stacked lats. We all know this game is rigged, but for some reason I kept playing. An idiot. You seem to have been winning a lot of these games. But I'm sure you're not going to win this one. Doom Boy picked up a ball and looked at the stacked cans. Doom guy. I heard about this. Izuku's girlfriend, Jirou, was complaining about all the rigged games out there. This was the most infamous, but I know what to do about it. Doom guy swung his arm back and threw the baseball at the cans with all his might, and even though the cans were glued with Gorilla Glue, he still managed to knock them down. The boy looked in shock, but then smiled when he saw that there was still a can standing. An asshole. See, I told you so. Doom guy stared at the can. His anger grew even more and the can simply jumped off the table. An asshole. The doomed guy snatched the award off the award wall, walked past the guy, and glared at him before walking away. An asshole. How the fuck? Doom guy walked up to the rabbit's owner who was doing tricks with a yo-yo. The owner then saw Doom guy and smiled. Rabbit owner. Well, looks like you're back and you've beaten the rest of the games. Doom guy. Give me my bunny. Bunny owner. Well, a deal's a deal, but there's a little hitch. The Doom guy slowly looked at the man and towered over him. Doom guy. What do you mean, there's a problem? Rabbit owner. Well, he was hungry and got angry. He pointed at the cage that had a giant hole in the side. Doom guy. Where did he go? Bunny's owner. Well, she ran out the door. If you catch her, she's all yours. Doom guy. Good. He dropped the prizes in front of the man, but snatched the yo-yo away. Doom guy. I'll take it. He told the man and then ran after the rabbit. Bunny owner. Yes, that's fair. Smiling face with tear. A few minutes later. The Doom man was following the giant footprints and destruction the rabbit left behind. He heard the screams of terror and ran towards the noise to see the rabbit sniffing the tree for food, but he angrily kicked it, sending the tree crashing into a car and making it explode. Woman. Someone save us. Doom guy. She's perfect. He smiled slightly and approached the bunny. The rabbit sat eating the leaves of a tree while the boy of Doom jumped on his back and immediately felt his soft fur, grabbing it and climbing up the rabbit's back and reaching the back of his neck. The giant rabbit felt the boy of Doom on the back of his neck and felt irritated, standing up as the boy of Doom held her by the ears. Doom guy. Calm down, I'm not here to hurt you. He said, gently stroking her head, but she wouldn't hear of it and started jumping to get it off. He almost fell, but grabbed her fur and stood up, holding on with all his strength as she began to bounce toward the city. Doom guy. Maybe I'll need Izuku's help. Meanwhile, Izuku was sleeping on the couch while Abara and Eri returned from their shopping spree, with Abara snuggling up to him while her head was on his chest as Eri watched Danny Phantom on television. Eri was singing the cartoon's theme song, but she had no idea what they were saying, so she mumbled the parts she couldn't understand before reaching the end. You were Danny Ghost. She screamed and jumped to her feet. Abara. Shish, dear Eri, please lower your voice, your father is sleeping. Eri. Oh, sorry mom. She whispered and sat back down. Abara sighed, stroking Eri's head before returning to Izuku and snuggling up to him. Suddenly, the kitchen phone rings and wakes Izuku up. Izuku. Who's calling? Abara. I'm not sure. She gets up and sees Izuku get up. Abara. No, stay here dear, you're tired, rest. Izuku. Okay. He lies back down and Abara goes to the kitchen and answers the phone. Abara. Hello, Doomguy. Hey, is Izuku home? He asked as Abara could hear screams of terror in the background. Abara. Yes, is something wrong? Doomguy. No. Citizen. We're all going to die. Someone shouted in the background. Doomguy. Maybe. Abara sighed in frustration and looked at Izuku who was sleeping. Abara. Izuku is unavailable right now, he's sleeping. Doomguy. But, Abara. But, I'll help you in your time of need. Where are you? Doomguy. I'm heading to a public garden. Abara. The community garden, I'm on my way. She ended the call. Abara. Oh honey. Eri. Yes, Mom. Abara. I'm going out for a moment, be careful not to wake your father. Eri. Yes, Mom. I can do it. Abara. Well, I won't be gone for long. She grabbed her coat and opened the door. Eri. For Mom. Eri waved to Abara as she left. An hour later, Abara arrives at the community garden that has a giant hole in the side of a building. She wraps her vines around the broken windows and rises above the shards of broken glass and enters the garden. Abara. Hello, Mr. Doom, are you here? She walks around, noticing the chewed vegetables and destruction leading to a path. Abara. Maybe this will lead me to him. She followed the path hoping to find Doomguy. The further he walked into the garden, the more destruction he saw and eaten plants that were scattered on the ground, and soon, he heard someone chewing in the corner, and once he turned the corner, he was shocked to find a huge rabbit eating the plants with Doomguy sitting on its back with his arms crossed. Abara. What is this? Doomguy. Oh, it's about time you got here. He stroked the rabbit's head, as if telling it to stop, which it did as it sat down and looked at Abara. Abara. Mr. Doom, why do you have this creature? Doomguy. She's not a creature. She said as the bunny stared at her. Doomguy. She's my bunny. Abara. I see, he said, watching the Doom Boy pet the rabbit's head and used his vines to raise himself to the Doom Boy's height. Abara. Now how do you plan to take her home? She asked, still feeling the bunny's gaze on her. Doomguy. We just need to get her to a more open area so Vega can teleport her to the ship. Abara. Will there be room for her on the ship? It's quite large. She looked at the bunny, who seemed to be cracking the garden roof, trying to make himself more comfortable in the small space he was in. Doomguy. I have a training room big enough for her, I'll make sure she's comfortable in there. Abara. I see, perhaps you have a location in mind. Doomguy. There's the training ground where I taught Eri how to shoot. Abara. Wait, you taught Eri how to shoot? Doomguy. Yeah, she's old enough. Abara. She's only 7 years old. She screamed, clearly a crazy, fatalistic guy who would teach a girl how to use a gun. Doomguy. And he did great. Abara. Sigh, we'll talk about this later, right now we have to take your pet home. He said, moving towards the rabbit and sitting on it behind the Doom Boy, and used his vines to pull the rabbit out of the garden. But as they left, they heard loud shouts outside the garden. Abara. I remember those screams, those demons have returned. She said with anger in her voice as the Doom Boy nodded. Doomguy. Damn. The bunny realized the danger his presence posed and quickly began hopping toward the garden exit. But when they were near the exit, 3 imps appeared in front of the bunny, but they didn't do much as the bunny just jumped on them, squashing them like pancakes, and started running from the imps that were chasing them. Abara. How did they know we were here? She screamed, twisting her body to try to defend herself and the 2 with her vines. Doomguy. They always know. He screamed and saw an imp jump towards him from the top of a roof. Abara. Back off, demonic scum. She screamed and backhanded the imp, sending him straight into the building. Then the man of Doom realized that they were moving away from the forest and grabbed the rabbit's ears. Doomguy. You're going the wrong way, he said to the bunny, spinning her around as she walked away and now started heading into the woods. Abara watched the imps chasing them with a look of disgust on her face as she watched them jump on the rabbit's hind legs and bite them, causing it to crash against the building in pain in an attempt to get them out. Abara. No, they're slowly tearing her down, at this rate she'll die. She screamed, tearing them off the rabbit with her vines and killing them, but they were swarming the rabbit. Doomguy watched from the rabbit's back, watching the imps scratch and bite the rabbit, but seeing the scene would make any man look at it in fear, filling Doomguy with rage. As an imp was about to plunge his claw into the rabbit's eye, the man of Doom grabbed him by the arm with an intense grip. The Doomguy stared at the imp before easily breaking his arm, driving the broken bone into his chin, penetrating his brain, and pushing the imp out of the rabbit. Doomguy. Take her to the open field, Vera will activate the portal when they see the bunny. He said as he jumped off the rabbit and landed directly on top of an imp, crushing its ribcage with his foot and then slamming his head in with the heel of his boot. The imp yelled at the boy of doom, drawing his attention to him as the imps ran towards him. "Abara, what's wrong with you?" he asked as the bunny slowly stood up. "Doomguy, I'll be fine, these have nothing to do with me." He cracked his knuckles and stared at the imps running toward him. "Abara, if you're sure, be careful. Izuku couldn't bear to lose you," she said, wrapping her vines around the rabbit and leading him out of the city. The doomed fellow walked down the sidewalk, peeling the dead imp's brain off the sole of his boot and toward the imps who were running toward him with the intent of killing them. "Doomguy, you've all killed so much, my family, humanity, all life on Earth. Daisy, but not again. I won't let you take her away from me," he said with anger in his voice, and when a devil was going to bite his face, the guy of perdition hit him right in his mouth while his fist ripped his head off cleanly but got caught in his arm. "Doomguy, I may not have a gun, but," he said and took his head off his arm. "Doomguy, who needs a gun when you can use your bare fists? I prefer the more physical beating anyway." He cracks his knuckles and the demons seem a little intimidated, but they react and charge at the Doomguy. "Doomguy, I'm going to enjoy this." Meanwhile, Abara and the bunny finally managed to get out of the city, but some demons were still following them. "Abara, these hellspawn are more annoying than mosquitoes," he said in frustration as he looked back, using his vines to grab them and throw them away. "Abara, I can't twist their necks like before, they'll invade my vines and climb, we must be close." She looked forward, but the rabbit stumbled as the imps grabbed the rabbit's leg and tore at its flesh. Because the rabbit trips and falls, Ibara flies off and lands in the field. Hearing the bunny scream in pain, he quickly gets up and his vines go towards those demons, grabbing them and throwing them away, but they continued attacking the bunny who would kick some of them. Growing increasingly irritated by the endless stream of imps harassing them, she felt her vines swell with her growing rage. "Abara, you demons born from hell have caused trouble for the last time." She screamed in anger and her vines spat out sharp thorns. The vines holding the imps dug their thorns into their bodies, tearing at their flesh and muscles. The vines then separated them, and Abara watched with anger flashing in her eyes as body parts and blood flew everywhere, including her face. "Abara, you've all annoyed me for the last time. I'm sick of dealing with you monsters from hell," she screamed as her vines grew on the truckers behind her. "Abara, even if you return, I'll be here to see you off, member by member once again." He raised his palm towards them and his pupils shrank in rage. "Abara, feel the wrath of God's creation," she screamed and sent her vines scything toward the imps, showing no hesitation in, well, tearing and ripping them apart. Back with Doomguy. Doomguy wipes his guts hanging off his shoulder as he walks towards an imp that was missing its lower half and had its guts hanging out, but Doomguy stepped on them and pulled back a little, causing its guts to spill out a little more and the imp screamed in pain. Doomguy. There's nothing like hearing the screams of pain from demons. As he lifted his other foot, ready to crush the devil's skull between his boots, his phone vibrated. He put his foot next to the devil's head and took out his phone to see that it was Izuku. Doomguy. Hola, Izuku. Dad, why is Abara killing imps while defending a rabbit? Doomguy. How did you do? Izuku. I'm watching it on the news, Dad. He said as he and Eri watched the news together. Eri. Grab them, Mom. She screamed, being heard by the guy on the other end of the phone. Doomguy. I needed help. Izuku. You could have called me. Doomguy. I did, but Abara insisted on helping you and letting you sleep. Izuku. Sigh, of course he did. I'm on my way. Doomguy. But, the call ended and Doomguy sighed. Doomguy. I should help Abara, she must be exhausted. He said and ran out to help Abara. But unfortunately, he forgot about the imp who saw him running and started regenerating. Meanwhile, Izuku was putting on his armor and Eri was watching from the doorway. Eri. Dad, can I help? She asked and walked in with a big smile. Izuku. Eri, you're not ready to be in a real fight. Eri. But Dad, Grandpa Doom trained me. I can do this. Izuku. Different. Eri. Dad, please. She hugged Izuku's leg who looked at him. Eri. I want to be cool and strong like you and my grandpa. Izuku. Joder. He cursed himself and knelt before her. Izuku. Fine, but stay close, okay? You were. Yes, Dad. She ran to her room to get her armor, excited to see her dad and grandpa in action. Izuku. I'm getting too soft, he said and continued preparing. Head of the bar association. Even though he was nullifying the imps, he was getting exhausted and his vines were weakening. The rabbit was wounded and damaged by the battle, but it reached its destination and Abara retreated towards the rabbit. Abara. What do I do now? He thought as he watched more devils coming. Abara. The hordes of sinful souls in hell are too many. I can't go on. Before they could reach her, she used the last of her energy to form a protective dome around her and the rabbit, but it was quickly destroyed due to her weakened state as they cut through her vines. She winced at the damage being done to her vines. Abara. I can't fail now, not with the power of God on my side. But when he saw them enter his protective dome, he saw one of them being taken out. Doomguy. Keep your dome up. I'll take care of them, he said and slammed the imp into another imp, making them fall to the ground as one jumped on his back and sank its teeth into his shoulder. He grimaced, but ignored it, grabbing the imp by the face, pulling it away and slamming it into the ground, crushing his prey between his palms. But they began to attack him, and although he fought them off, they continued stabbing him and biting his muscles and flesh. Although they were easy to kill alone, together they were extremely dangerous as a pack of wolves. But luckily, help arrived when the bullets flew toward the pile of imps, hitting them and leaving an opening for the Boy of Doom to free himself. Izuku stabbed one of them with his gauntlet's sword and split them in two while Eri sat on Izuku's shoulder. Eri. There's so much, Dad, he said with a bit of fear in his voice as he pointed his small pistol at an imp that ran at Izuku from behind and pulled the trigger, hitting the imp's knees, which fell on its face and slid towards Izuku, who raised his leg and stomped on its skull. Izuku. Good different work. Eri. I did it, he said as Izuku handed his dad a sawed-off shotgun. Izuku. You should have brought a gun with you. Fatal boy. I know, he said as they both went back to kill the rest of the imps while Abara kept the dome up to protect her and the bunny. After the battle ended, the dome fell and the dead vines fell to the ground surrounding Abara and the bunny as she fell to her knees. Izuku put Eri down and ran to Abara and hugged her tightly. Izuku. Are you okay? Abara. I think I'll make it, thank you dear, she said and snuggled up to Izuku. Izuku. Rest, Ibara, you must be exhausted, he said and lifted her up. Doomguy watched as a beam of light appeared above the giant rabbit and teleported her to the ship. Vega. Good job, with the goblins out of the way, it was safe enough to get the bunny to safety. Eri was looking at the remaining imps, not knowing how to feel about it. She then took off her helmet because it was too hot for her and left it on the ground. Eri. Wow, is this what Dad and Grandpa do all the time? She asked and looked down at the imps with their jaws ripped off and their necks banging. Eri. I know they're bad but, it feels wrong. He said that although he knew the demons only thought about killing and eating flesh, he couldn't help but feel bad for killing them so brutally. But since Doomguy, Izuku, and Abara were distracted, they didn't notice an imp sneaking up on Eri. And Eri was too distracted by her thoughts to see a shadow looming over her. Doomguy finished talking to Vera through Izuku's gauntlets and looked to see Eri, but his eyes widened at the sight of the imp with its claw raised above its head. Doomguy. Eri, he yelled at Eri, who jumped, turning to face Doomguy, but gasped at the sight of the imp. Izuku and Abara saw this and their faces turned into horror as Azara was too weak to use his vines to stop the imp and Izuku and Doomguy were too far away. The imp's attack was too fast for Izuku and Doomguy to draw their guns and fire. They also didn't want to shoot Eri by accident. But it didn't matter as it was too late and I watched as the imp attacked Eri, knocking her to the ground. Izuku and Doomguy's faces only glowed with anger as Izuku pulled Abara to her feet. Izuku. Damn bastard. Doomguy and Izuku immediately attacked the imp and tackled him to brutally beat him while Abara ran towards Eri and checked her face. Abara. Eri, honey, are you okay? She asked as Eri held her eyes and cried. Eri. It hurts, she cried as Abara held Eri's head against her chest, her heart unable to bear hearing Eri cry. Time skip. Eri had a bandage covering her eye while Izuku held her close. Eri. Dad, it doesn't hurt that much anymore. Izuku remained silent and stroked her head. Eri. I'm okay now. Izuku. It was a bad idea to bring you with me. Eri. It's okay foe. Izuku. It's not, he said, looking at her angrily. Eri could see the anger in his eyes and looked down. Izuku noticed her anger and sighed. Izuku. I'm sorry, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at myself for letting you get hurt. He said and stroked her head. Izuku. I'm supposed to keep you safe. I'm supposed to protect you, but I failed and you paid the price for it. Eri's eye felt like it was bruised, even if it was cut, but she ignored the pain. Eri. It's not your fault, it was the demon. Izuku. It's my fault for thinking it was okay to lead you into danger. He said and sat down with Eri in his arms. Izuku. If I had let you stay, this would never have happened, it's my fault. He said and sat her down on his bed. Izuku. You'll stay with Kiyoka and the others at Ua, they'll take better care of you than I will. Eri. What? No, I want to stay with you, Dad. Izuku. This is not a topic for discussion. Eri. But I don't want to leave. Dad, I'm sorry, please let me stay with you. I'll be careful, I swear. She cried. She didn't want to leave, she felt safer with him than in Ua, but Izuku felt the opposite with what he and Doomguy do. Thinking about it now, he should never have gotten her into this. Izuku. Sorry Eri, it's too dangerous for you. You were. But. Izuku. The girls will come pick you up tomorrow. Eri. Very pa. Izuku. Good night, he said, unable to look at her with bandages on his face and closed the door. Eri stared at the door in silence, tears rolling down her cheeks and soaking the bandages as she slowly lay down, covering herself with the blanket while blaming herself for getting hurt. Eri. I'm sorry, he murmured before closing his eyes to sleep. As Eri went to sleep, Izuku sat in the living room. Abara came out of Izuku's room, rested, and saw Izuku sitting on the couch with his face in his palms. Abara sighed and walked over to him, standing beside him and holding his shoulders. Abara. It's not your fault, dear. Izuku. It is. I should have left her at home. I'm a fool to bring a little girl to a fight. Abara. We make mistakes. Eri probably told you it wasn't your fault either. Izuku. She did, but I can't protect her if I make these decisions that hurt her, so I need you to take her back to Ua first thing tomorrow morning. Abara. Izuku. You know she won't leave you, she loves you too much. Izuku. It's for your own good. Abara. I understand you want to keep her safe, but think about what she wants, dear. She says and sits next to him. Abara. And I think she doesn't care if she gets hurt, she would be more upset if you got hurt. So please, Izuku, think about this, you'll be pushing her away from you, you're a father to her. She holds his hand. Abara. She needs you, just like you need her. Izuku. No, article. Izuku. I can't trust myself to keep her safe, she's just a child, she doesn't understand the danger that surrounds us all. Example. But, Izuku. What if that imp cut her somewhere more vital? What if that imp killed her? I'm an idiot for thinking taking a 7-year-old to fight demons is good for her. She shouldn't be fighting demons that can tear her apart. Abara. Then don't take her there. She yelled at him. Abara. No one's forcing you to take her to fight. You made a mistake and you learned from it. Don't make that mistake again. Izuku. I've already made too many mistakes. I won't make another one. She shouldn't have to pay for the mistakes I make. He says and gets up. Abara. And she shouldn't have to pay for your fear. She said following him. Abara. I know losing her would be the worst thing for you, but imagine how she feels knowing her father doesn't want her around. Izuku. It's not like that. Abara. So how is it? She pulled at his arm. Izuku. Do you think I want him to leave? He looked at her angrily. Izuku. I want her to stay, I do, but I can't lose her. Abara. She's a strong girl. She's safer with you than anywhere else. She glared at him as they stared at each other, hands balled into fists. Izuku realized how quickly this escalated and looked down. Izuku. I'm sorry, he said, rubbing his eyes as Abara sighed and looked away. Abara. It's fine, dear. Izuku. I just don't know what to do, he said as Abara slowly hugged him. Abara. All you have to do is be there for her, love her, be the protector she needs, her father. Izuku remained silent and hugged her slowly. Abara. She's staying, and don't worry. I'll talk to the other girls so we can take turns staying here with you. You need someone to help you. Izuku. Thank you, Abara. You're welcome, dear. They both closed their eyes and enjoyed that moment of silence together. Meanwhile, the Doom Boy was in his workshop, crafting additional weapons while the giant rabbit recovered and took a nap in the simulator room. But as he was working, he heard shouts and sighed, put down the piece of gun and picked up a sledgehammer. He entered the room and turned on the room light to see the imp that attacked Eri, chained to the wall. Doomguy. I don't know how your stuff is regenerating now, but it was a mistake to learn that, he said, raising his gavel. Doomguy. Because you'll beg for it to end, but I won't give you that piece, you're going to pay for what you did to Eri, he said as the imp yelled at him and he pointed the mallet at his knee. Doomguy. So you better get used to this place. He threw his arms back. Doomguy. Because you'll be here for an eternity. And he hit his knee with the mallet, making the imp scream in the air with his voice full of pain as he planned to break every bone in his body. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now we will see you in the next video.